Here we go.
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way. Close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
JMV out today. It is the producer show takeover. My name is Marc Dykton. Eddie Garrison is to my right. James Adams on the ones and twos. We've done it, boys. We've chased everyone out of here. No one else wants to do the shows. We've taken over the producer show, a long-forgotten show that was on the Fan. It has been rebooted for at least one day only on this Thursday, July 17th, 2025.
Well, this is our second, right? Our technical second show together.
But this is everybody. All the producers are on right now.
That is true.
So James
Nathaniel's a producer. We can't just forget about him.
The regular producers.
Okay.
Not to be dismissive of the part-time guys and gals. But I am Marc Dykton. That's Eddie Garrison. James Adams here as well. We have you for the next 3 hours, taking you up until 6 o'clock today, and plenty to get into. We started the show. Intro's playing. Eddie's spilling water and ketchup chips from Jake over there. So when Jake complains tomorrow that his desk is sticky, he'll know why.
You would hear it from your host, James Boyd, first, right?
Well, that is true. James doesn't complain much, but we're off and running today. Again, got you for 3 hours. The big news of the day came out a couple hours ago at this point after you guys had that conversation with Stephanie White earlier. A good interview, but obviously she didn't say much on Caitlyn Clark's status, but we have official word from Caitlyn herself, tweeted on the Fever website. Caitlyn said, "I'm so excited for Indy to host the WNBA All-Star game of this weekend. I want to thank the Indianapolis Host Committee and all of the people that have put endless work in over the past year to put this event together. I know this will be the best All-Star yet." And then she included, "I am incredibly sad and disappointed to say I can't participate in the three-point contest or the All-Star game. I have to rest my body. I will still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all the action. I'm looking forward to helping Sandy coach our team to win. Can't wait to see you all out there, Caitlyn Clark." So she's officially out for the weekend. I tweeted, "Disappointing but necessary." I think we talked about it a little earlier with Jake, that they Fever have championship aspirations. Caitlyn Clark is obviously at the forefront of all of that. And she's just had one too many injuries leading into this All-Star break, and we would very much like her to take a break. And that looks like exactly what she'll be doing. She's going to take a rest. She'll still be a part of the festivities to a point, but she won't be participating in any of the on-court activities. Eddie, your thoughts on that? I think needed to happen.
I do too, and Tony E said it on Korean Company with us in the 2 o'clock hour. It just felt like this was a time where Caitlyn Clark needed the rest, and not to mention there's already uncertainty on how long she'll be out anyway, just because there's not been a lot said by Stephanie White or by the Indiana Fever or by Caitlyn Clark since sustaining the injury to the right groin, which is different than the previous injury was to her left groin.
Right.
And so it's a good, 4 or 5 days for her to get off her feet a little bit in terms of being on the court. Now she can just, be like the mayor of Indianapolis for the weekend, kind of like Tyrese Halliburton was, not have to worry about having to play or participate or practice or anything leading up to the three-point shootout or in the WNBA All-Star game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure the league is disappointed. Obviously, you don't know when the next time is that Indianapolis is going to get to host this kind of event. Caitlyn Clark is unquestionably the star of the league, so you thought it was all going to be one big celebration of women's basketball in the state. And unfortunately, she got dealt a horrible hand this season so far, her sophomore season, with the Fever just been plagued by injuries. You mentioned both groin injuries now and all that. So very disappointing, but again, necessary for the Fever in the long run. And Stephanie White talked about it even yesterday after their game last night, just said, we're going to take it. We have a long-term process that we'd like to see play out, and we're going to take it that way. So slow and steady as she goes for Caitlyn Clark. Probably not the news that she wanted, definitely not the news that the fans wanted, but something that had to happen. So we'll have Bria Goss on in a little bit, about 3:30. I believe she's going to join us. So we'll dive into more of that and all of the All-Star festivities. Told Jake I was out and about. I've been up since 5:15 this morning, so I've been going hard all day and didn't rest. My wife had to go do volunteer work out at the IMS, so we're out over there as they get ready for WNBA All-Star activities out there. Took the girls to McAllister's for some lunch. Free tea day, by the way, folks.
That's the one thing I hate about working the midday show like that is I miss out on lunch, and I love me some lunch in McAllister's.
It was delicious. I hadn't had it in a while, but free tea day. Go get yourself a cup of tea. It's hot out there. Jake asked what the weather was. I said it's sticky and hot as hell, and he couldn't believe it, but I said, no, it's like 95. It feels 95 out there. It's very hot. After we did all that, I got dropped off, went around the circle. They are setting up WNBA All-Star Weekend. There's a giant placard with the logo all over there. There's basketball courts galore down there, so it looks like you'll be able to get some shot ups. So maybe JMV, when he comes back to work at some point, he'll get some shot ups right on the circle there. He won't have to go down to the gym with the small clearance in our basement here. And then, it looks like it's going to be a good time. So it should be a fun weekend all in all, but obviously the Caitlyn Clark news puts a bit of a damper on everything.
I mean, it just sucks even from Caitlyn Clark's perspective too, Mark. Like, she had the chance to do remember when they had Steph versus Sabrina?
Yeah.
Here, when the All-Star game was here, they tried to do the same thing with Steph and Caitlyn last year in her rookie campaign, and she declined to do it because she wanted to do her first All-Star appearance and all that stuff, 3-point contest as well. She declined to be in it last year in WNBA All-Star Weekend because she wanted to make her appearance on that stage here in Indianapolis, and now she's not going to be able to do that, so she's going to have to eventually make her – I don't know where the All-Star game is next year, so that's where she'll probably have to make her debut, and it just sucks for her because this was an opportunity for her to break through the city of Indianapolis more so than she already has, and for her to put her stamp like Tyrese Halliburton did within the city, because to this point, it just kind of feels like there's been a lot of interaction with her being at Pacers games, Butler games, etc. But there just hasn't been the opportunity for fans to have the up close and personal visit with Caitlyn Clark like there is going to be for the next handful of days.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it before that when the NBA All-Star game was here, Tyrese Halliburton was ringleader, mayor of the city. He was all over the place. He's shaking hands, kissing babies. He was doing podcasts with Woj. He was doing all these other things. He was out and about everywhere at the NBA city that they had at the convention center. That was what was going to be expected for Caitlyn Clark, that she was going to do all of that stuff. And unfortunately, I don't know how much, but the on-court stuff has been obviously canceled for her, but how much stuff is she actually doing? I don't know if there's appearances or anything like that. Like, how much of that is she actually going to do where she's going to be on her feet still? I don't know. I don't know how much they're still asking of her, or if this injury has kind of changed the trajectory of what her weekend was going to look like. Because I had to imagine it was going to be like, wall-to-wall coverage of go here, now go here, now go do this signing, now go hang out with this sponsor. I was assuming she was going to be all over the place. So if you missed it, as we started the show, Caitlyn Clark out of the 3-point contest and out of All-Star Weekend. She will still be in attendance. What activities and what off-court stuff she'll be doing, we don't know. But if you are in town, unfortunately, that is not the news you wanted to hear on this Thursday, but it was one that had to happen. So Bria Goss, again, going to join us at 3:30. So we're going to discuss that with her. I'm sure she's got plenty of thoughts on that one as well.
Yeah, and then, of course, last night in the Fever game, you had Kelsey Mitchell passing to me catchings for the franchise record for three-pointers. So that's congratulations to Kelsey Mitchell. She'll be participating in the All-Star game and not in the three-point contest.
Have they named Caitlyn Clark's replacement for the 3-point contest?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I was going to say, I missed that as I was driving all over town today.
Chloe Peterson of the Indianapolis Star just tweeted 5 minutes ago that Brittany Sykes has been named as the replacement for Caitlyn Clark, and then Satu Sabali will be replaced by Bree Jones. So there are 2 replacements in the All-Star game.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, there you go. So that is the official word there. We're also going to get into some IU football talk. Matt Weaver going to join us at 4:30. I'm with my colleague Kevin Bowen. I do not like what IU has put out there as far as their non-conference schedule this year. So I'll be very curious to see Matt's thoughts on that, and just why do they continue to go the cookie cutter route when it comes to their non-conference opponents. Obviously, conference opponents, those are determined, but why you continue to do this cupcake schedule? Like last year with Cignetti, I understand it. This year, I'm kind of like, okay, you had all this national attention. You're this rah-rah guy, and then that's the non-conference schedule you're putting out there. Not only that, and then you cancel your home with Virginia. Like, Virginia's some powerhouse in football. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I could have swore kind of like during the peak Alabama years in the 2010s, there was a lot of ridicule and backlash towards Nick Saban for doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, there's always like the Citadel would be on there, and like, what in the what is the over under 100.5 points? Like,
yeah, and like
the Citadel's not even going to get a safety or a field goal.
And I wonder if Cignetti's time during Alabama underneath Nick Saban had an impact on that. Like you saw how Alabama, pretty much used those cupcake games, as you put it, as games to build up confidence, to try things out offensively when you have a new quarterback or a new system or whatever the case may be. And I wonder if that's the approach that Cignetti is taking here with such a weak schedule for the Indiana Hoosiers.
Maybe, but then you've got to be curious if that's going to affect them, when it comes to rankings and possible bowls and all that stuff, because you better get out to a hot start then. If you're going to put those cupcakes out there multiple weeks in a row, I mean, you better be 3-0 out of the gate before you get a non-conference schedule and all that. So Matt Weaver going to join us at 4:30. We'll talk about that. And then at 5, Mike Chappell going to talk some Colts with us as we are counting down the days now to Colts Report Day and training camp out at Westfield's Grand Park. I can't wait for that. I've got some Colts thoughts I'd like to throw your guys' way a little bit later on, but plenty to get into on the show today. Your thoughts on this Victor Oladipo situation with the Pacers? We talked about it a little bit this morning on the show. I'm still convinced that Kevin got on the tweet, but apparently he has some legs that it might actually be like something they're considering. I wouldn't do it personally. I don't really know what Victor Oladipo at this stage of his career really does for you as a Pacers team that is in transition this year without Tyrese Halliburton. Your thoughts on the possibility of a reunion that I don't know if many Pacers fans want of Victor Oladipo and the blue and gold?
Like the poll that we've got on Twitter right now, @Query_Company, it seems that most people, Pacer fans, would not want to see him. And did the exit leave such a sour taste in the mouths of Pacers fans that even if there was, some life left in Victor Oladipo's career, would they still do it? I don't know. But even from this aspect, it just doesn't make sense on any level. Like, even if, I guess there would only be like one or two. If the Pacers did not have the guards that they have right now between Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, you're hoping to get some minutes for Cam Jones. You've got to get more minutes for Jarris Walker, Johnny Furphy as well. Like, if they were in a situation where they could afford to throw him a couple minutes a night, fine, why not? I mean, they're entering a season where I don't envision them having that luxury of just, here, let's throw you some minutes just because you're on the roster or whatever. This upcoming season is all about, what does Benedict Mathurin look like in the starting role? How does he look over the course of an 82-game season with a different role being within the starters? Is he a guy that we drafted him to be as a key figure and a key piece next to Tyrese Halliburton as a part of the future of the Indiana Pacers? And then additionally, does Cam Jones provide you anything? Can he provide you anything in his rookie year? Because once Tyrese Halliburton is back, you would assume TJ McConnell will be here still. Like, so does Cam Jones follow the rotation? It's another step for Andrew Nembhard to potentially take and improving his value within the NBA as a guy that, who knows, that maybe they have to trade because his value of his contract after this will become so high that they can't pay it, and you're able to get something in return. And then, not to mention Johnny Furphy and Jarris Walker. Those two need to get in the rotation because you've got to figure out, at least more so with Walker than Furphy, you've got to figure out still if he's a role player or if he can be, one of those fringe all-star type players that the Pacers are needing around Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, that's why I'm against the Oladipo potential move, because I think I would rather see those young guys get more minutes, get more lean, and I'd like to see what Andrew Nembhard can do in his natural position. I would like to see him be just named the everyday point guard going forward and just kind of see how the team flows through him. This is a transition period for everybody on the roster. I would like to see what the young guys can do, because, again, you have to start getting some answers to these guys. And Victor Oladipo, no offense to him, but I feel like we have the answer already. He's a mid-30s guy who suffered multiple horrific injuries, and I just don't see what the long-term move for it would be. Like, is this a one-year deal? Because even if it's a one-year deal, I would still be against it, because you're taking minutes away from guys that are younger that could probably use it, that you hope to have a core built around once Tyrese Halliburton comes back fully healthy. So the whole thought of Oladipo even coming back has me scratching my head. I still think Kevin got this morning, and even though there's like betting favorites that Bovada or whatever has out there that, the Pacers are the favorite. But why, though? Like, someone in the front office would have to explain it to me if that move ends up becoming for real and official. I'd be like,
does Bovada have odds on us talking about wrestling? Because I know JMV said no wrestling talk.
Listen, JMV's not here.
And Bovada has like odds on everything.
I know. Yeah. Well, you know what? We can always talk wrestling. There's always wrestling, like, I can draw analogies there.
I know James will be happy about that, because I know James is a wrestling fan. I am not.
See, well, you need to see yourself out then.
I know, man.
The producer show minus Eddie coming up the rest of the way, it sounds like. No, I mean, the whole wrestling, whatever he said, nerdy or whatever. Okay, that sounds like
don't
old man.
Don't nerd it out, yeah.
Don't nerd it. That was old man talk from JMV, but it's fine. I mean, I said we have 2 people in this room to fill a one-man show, but half the ego. So
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That is a great way to put it.
Yeah. So, whatever. That's fine. I told him we could, because Jake was like, what are you doing here so early? I said, well, I'm doing show prep. He's like, what does that entail? I said, looking up JMV search history. And boy, oh boy, that would be a mistake.
It's an interesting history.
I'm sure.
I don't want to out Jake Query, so I'm not going to make any comments about him.
Oh, his search history. I'm surprised he can log into a computer daily.
But don't tell him to. Let's not forget about the password change, Jake.
There's still, I
I
tell this story all the time when we're back on the 2 floors above us. And Jake, I still to this day don't know how he did it, but he printed off every logo of every professional North American sports team on a single page. Like, one page was like the New Orleans Pelicans, one page was the Celtics, one page was the Calgary Flames. Every logo. He's like, I just went to ESPN and I pushed print. I'm like, how did you do that? There was no page on ESPN where they have every pro North American team listed, and somehow he did it. I don't know how he did it, and I said, you just blew through like 10 years of the toner budget in this company.
Are y'all saying that there is somebody else who struggles with technology as much as JMV does?
That's that old man syndrome.
Oh, man.
Suffering from OLD. That's the problem. Just saying. This is the youngest this show has ever been in 20 years.
Which is the bigger news, Mark? That Anthony Richardson is, quote unquote, fully cleared for training camp for Stephen Holder, or the Caitlyn Clark at the All-Star break?
What's more surprising?
Weekend? Not surprising. Which is the bigger news item?
Boy, I mean, as I cough, I guess I would say Anthony Richardson, because the Caitlyn Clark thing, is that really all that surprising or big news? Because
is it surprising or big that Anthony's going to be, quote unquote, fully cleared for training camp?
Well, I didn't see. That's the thing, is I didn't have any intention of even really knowing if he was fully healthy until we got to camp. So if they're already giving them that clearance, then that's good. But does that also mean that the quarter competition is back on? Because I've kind of already penciled in Daniel Jones as the week 1 starter just because of Anthony Richardson's health issues. So now are we saying, all right, it is a legit quarterback competition and it's full go once we start camp on Wednesday? Or is he just playing catch-up at this point?
That's a great question. I would assume he's not playing catch-up because he's played with these guys and he's practiced with these guys. So most of the guys on the roster are familiar with him. The only one he's not familiar with is Tyler Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Daniel Jones, he had to get more. The reps for him were beneficial just because it allows him to become more up to speed on, timing on where Michael Pittman Jr. likes the ball, where Josh Downs likes the ball, and how they run their routes and things of that nature, and being able to work with, Shane Steichen to talk about, just what they see from as a head coach of Shane Steichen, watching on the sidelines and what Daniel Jones is seeing within the pocket. All that's already been there with Anthony Richardson. So I think the playing field is probably still, Daniel Jones has the advantage going into camp, but I think they still feel like it's a competition and they're going to let it all play out throughout the course of camp through the 2 mandatory practices against the Baltimore Ravens and the Green Bay Packers, and then those 3 preseason games.
It'll be very interesting to see what they do. My personal preference would be keep Daniel Jones as the week 1 starter. I've said it before. I will say it again. I think the smart move for Shane Steichen and the Colts is to have Daniel Jones be your starter. You can use the excuse of, well, Anthony Richardson is still, even if he's cleared, he's still coming back from injury. We want to take it slow. We don't want to put that much pressure on him. He's catching up and this next since he missed offseason activities and whatnot. We're going to go with Daniel Jones in week 1. And then that way you play out Daniel Jones for however long it is. It could be halftime of week 1 if he's struggling that bad or whatever. But the second you tap the shoulder of Anthony Richardson and say, okay, it's your team, go out there, you are not going back to Daniel Jones.
Exactly.
Because I feel like if you do the opposite, if you start with Anthony Richardson and he struggles out of the gate and you're looking at another loss in week 1, or you're struggling right out of the gate and you're just not seeing anything, the second you go to Daniel Jones, that is it for Anthony Richardson.
You think so?
Yes, 100, at least with the Colts. That's it. Because if you are pulling the cord on your year 3 quarterback, and again, if that's early in the season, or that's even if that were to happen and you hadn't gone to Daniel Jones already, the second you pull that cord, you can't go. You're not doing the volleyball. You're not going back and forth. Well, it's Anthony Richardson this week. It's Daniel Jones next week. Now it's Daniel Jones again. Oh, wait, we're going to go back to Anthony Richardson. That is chaotic. That is not good for the team. That's not good for the coaching staff. That's not good for the fan base. So my whole thought this time was, okay, that might be a blessing in disguise that AR is hurt, because that means that Daniel Jones can get the start. You'll see what he can do. And then whenever you decide that it's time to go to Anthony Richardson, that's it. good, bad, or indifferent, you are riding him to the very end of the season. I don't care when that takes place. But if you take him out, take Daniel Jones out, and you put Anthony Richardson in, you have to ride that out and just see, finally, get the final answer. Even though you might already have your assumptions of what Anthony Richardson is, you have to ride it out to the very end and say, we have a definitive answer. Yes, he is something we can build behind, or no, we need to finally move on. And yes, well, we won't pick up his fifth-year option. We'll keep him on his rookie contract, even if Daniel Jones departs. But we will look in the 2026 NFL draft for our next starting quarterback.
So you're saying, if I am understanding you correctly, let's say somehow I should say that Anthony Richardson wins the starting job back, and they shift to Daniel Jones at some point because of poor play from Richardson. Then it's book is closed. He's done.
That's what I would say.
Because let's say this is all hypothetical.
Listen,
Richardson stinks. Daniel Jones stinks.
Yeah.
Do you go back to Richardson after however many games off?
I mean, you could do that, but again, that's chaotic energy because it's like if you're bouncing from quarterback to quarterback. I already don't like the Colts quarterback situation heading into this year. I think much like the entire franchise, this seems to be a transition year for the Colts because you had the untimely passing of Jim Irsay. So you've got the ownership change. The daughters have taken over. You don't really know their thoughts on the franchise. Jim's passing was well after the draft. It was all after, so the wheels were already in motion for the next season. We haven't seen what the daughters think of the whole franchise from the top down. So I feel like they're like, okay, well, we're taking over. Everything's already in place for this season. Next season, you don't have commitments to quarterbacks necessarily. You don't have commitments to Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen. This could be the trial period for everybody. And next offseason, they could say, okay, after this season is put to bed, we are putting our stamp on things. Whether that means moving on from Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, whether that means moving on from Chris Ballard or Shane Steichen, I'm sure they want to put their own stamp on things. We don't know their opinion on Chris Ballard. We know that Jim was fiercely loyal to him. Called him a blue chip GM, even though he didn't have the success on the field or in the postseason.
Called Shane Steichen the next Don Shula.
Called him the next Don Shula. Did the daughters think that too? I don't know.
Chris Ballard is Michael Jordan, or was Michael Jordan in Jim's eyes,
And so, it's just, I'll be curious to see after this season goes by what their actual thoughts on the franchise will be. Because I think you're going to get some very telling answers once that happens.
I think they are results driven based off of what we've heard. Like you go back to what Carly Ursay-Gordon said about Anthony Richardson when she was asked about him and the whole if he wants to. And she mentioned it twice in that same reply when asked about Anthony and if they still have belief in him and within the franchise. She's like, yeah, I mean, we drafted Anthony for a reason, but if Anthony wants to do that, she
seems like her BS radar is at 0 at all times. She's got no time for BS, and if she sees you have BS, she will call you out on it and she will move on.
I'm sure Mike Chappell will have an understanding on how Carly Ursay-Gordon may operate because she's been around pretty much the entire last 2-3 years.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions for Chap.
Longer.
I've got some questions for you guys regarding the Colts and this season as far as projections and what that means for the Colts going forward. So a lot to get into here. Plenty more on the way. It is the Ride with JMV, but is the producer's show today. So Marc, Dykton, Eddie Garrison, James Adams, all in here. We've got a lot coming up, so join us on the other side. You're listening to the Ride with JMV on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
month long, and make sure to enter for your chance to win $500 by predicting the winner of this year's race on July 27th. Go to 1075thefan.com to enter. Now, here's your 2025 race update, brought to you by Bet365.
This is your race update. The Brickyard 400 is coming up quickly, just 9 days away. I was out at the IMS Day. It looks absolutely glorious as they gear up for the event. Shane Van Gisbergen won at Sonoma, the most recent race. Kyle Larson, your winner at last year's Brickyard. NASCAR will be out at Dover this weekend. Don't forget, go to 1075thefan.com and click the contest page for your chance to win $500 if you can correctly predict the winner of this year's Brickyard 400, courtesy of Bet365.
The Ride with JMV.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
James coming back with a little Queen. Radio Gaga. Here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Eddie Garrison, Marc Dykton, filling in inside the DriveHubler.com studio. A lot of Indiana Fever news coming out today. Last night they fall to the New York Liberty, what was a scheduled loss. In my opinion, you're playing in less than 24 hours after the previous night. You have no Caitlyn Clark. Obviously, that was not a part of the schedule when it came out, but you're facing the second best team of the WNBA. And on the radio call last night for that 98-77 loss was Bria Goss, the Fever Radio Network analyst. Bria, safe travels back from New York?
Yes, we got back at around 2:30 in the morning, so we're on the move.
Do you ever get tired of traveling that late at night?
So how I try to look at it is it's a great opportunity for me to be in. Definitely something that I've been wanting to do. Maybe not. I didn't know it was going to be radio, but this is definitely the dream job. So I try not to complain too much. However, the constant movement is something that I'm still trying to get used to. So check in about a month and ask me that same question.
It's almost reminiscent of your playing days. Last night, Kelsey Mitchell, she becomes the franchise leader in career three-pointers. I know you've been a broadcaster with the Fever before, not just this year with radio, so you've seen Kelsey evolve over the years. Where have you seen her game grow since she was drafted by the Fever?
Yeah, so I think, definitely one of those things where when Kelsey came in and, we were struggling scoring-wise, she was that primary scorer, and she went out there day in and day out and just knew how to put the ball in the bucket. And I don't always think her shot selection was probably the best back then, whereas now she's taking nothing but high percentage, great shots. Well within the offense, not a lot of forced shots, shots that she practices, shots that she knows that she can make and is confident in, and she kind of lets the game come to her. And then also from her passing ability, and just being able to be, super dimensional and have multiple things in her bag, I think has been like on the forefront of her focus, and which is why it's been able to lead to the last few years of All-Star.
Bria Goss on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Bria, appreciate you joining us this afternoon. I'm assuming you are back in town, and are you seeing all the All-Star festivities starting to set up around the town?
Yes. Yep. My festivities start tonight as I get to go to like a little networking brunch thing or dinner thing for some pretty high-profile media folks. So that's going to be fun, along with just trying to also do my part in the community and give back. So I do have a game tonight, and I'm looking forward to doing that in front of some of the community. And then it really hits the ball going tomorrow as I start on a panel tomorrow morning. So, again, just trying to give back in the ways that I can.
The WNBA World coming to Indianapolis. Curious, the one person you're hoping to meet, if you know that there's anyone out there, anyone on the top of your list that if you get a chance to rub shoulders with for a little bit this weekend, you're going to meet up with?
Hopefully it's Lisa Leslie. I would say Tamika, but Tamika is kind of the reason why I was even to start my broadcasting career, so I do know her pretty well, but Lisa Leslie has always been a favorite of mine and my older sister. So if I'm able to see her and take a picture with her and then show my sister, I think that's going to mean everything to me. So she can be a little jealous. But yeah. Lisa, if you're listening, I'll be looking for you.
Lisa Leslie, one of the OGs of the league. I love Lisa Leslie. Yes. She was outstanding.
Yeah, she's so good. And the things that she was able to do with the game, even back then, and how exciting she was, and all the attention that she was able to bring, not just with her dunking ability, but her IQ. The big girls don't always get a lot of love, so I'm happy to see that she was.
So as a player, once All-Star weekend comes, are you kind of like breathing a sigh of relief, like, oh, finally, like a little bit of a break? Like, what do you think the Fever are thinking right now as they hit the All-Star break? Are they getting the rest that they need, or are they disappointed the way they're kind of like heading into the All-Star break?
Well, see, and it's so funny that this is called the break, because it really isn't much of a break that we've seen. Of course, we're not playing back to back or within 48 hours. But I wonder if there's any of the women on the team that are actually going to travel a little bit or go home with families. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of time, because we'll be right back on the road on Monday. So that being said, I know there's going to be a lot of just excitement around the city. Hopefully they can kind of chime in and support, the teammates that are on the All-Star break, and just kind of mentally reset. Of course, with the game yesterday, it's not exactly how they want to go out, but this does give them an opportunity to just rest and recharge so that they're ready to go come Tuesday.
You mentioned how you grew up watching Lisa Leslie and kind of idolizing her. Kind of like in that same era, you've got Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops. Is the current generation of young girls, boys, whomever, basketball fans, how does that compare to Caitlyn Clark and Cameron Brink, Kelsey Plum, all the young and up-and-coming stars, Paige Beckers, that these players and the young kids are having the ability to watch now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think the biggest difference is social media. Social media, I mean, could you imagine if, Cheryl Swoops, had an Instagram page back then, and what that would look like, what NIL would look like for her and things like that. And I actually got an opportunity to meet her during Athletes Unlimited, and just kind of listening to her and how she carried herself and what she did for the game. And I mean, her having, the first shoe deal, and just all kind of things. And I don't think that ever goes away just because there's good players in today's game. I think the players have recognized who came before them and have given props. But also in that same sense, it's kind of like passing of the torch. And so seeing what the greats have done for the game doesn't go away just because there's younger people who can also ball. And I mean, what we haven't seen just with the young boys and grown men who are wearing these Caitlyn Clark jerseys and Angel Reese jerseys and things, and this support from a lot from the men's side, we haven't always seen. So to see that and see where the game is now, I mean, there shouldn't be, a single head that's dropped for the simple fact that everyone has some type of part to play in it.
Bria Goss joining us, voice of the Fever on the radio. You hear her voice all the time on these airwaves, part of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Appreciate you joining us again, Bria. Not going to bury the lead. The Caitlyn Clark injury, obviously, just want to get your thoughts on that. She's said that she's ruled out herself out of the three-point contest, the All-Star game as well. Just your thoughts on what she's going through, both mentally and physically, and then just the pressure she's been under, not only to be the face of the league, but basically the face of this weekend as it's in Indianapolis.
Yeah, man, it's just, and I'm pretty sure, if it was up to her, picking and choosing whether this was a great time to be injured or not, she would 100% say no. So it's just one of those unfortunate things that had happened at just an unfortunate time. But like she said, she is still going to be around and very interactive and showing us to panels and things. So you will still be able to see her, which is why I still encourage a lot of people to come out, which I have no doubt that they will. I can't really speak for her in sense of like what she's thinking and how she's feeling. However, I know as an athlete, it's extremely difficult to be going through what she's going through, or what any injured player is going through, with just the ups and downs and trying to overcompensate, the injury itself, and try to use less of this leg, which means more of this leg, which can also lead to more injuries. Just the mental aspect of, playing some minutes, and then as soon as it's tweaked, there's wrong movements or whatever the case may be, then you're back out. Like, it's an emotional roller coaster. So I know there's people in that locker room and people at home supporting her and her decision. And I think, according to Coach Steph White, that was a decision that was made by her and her teammates. And they clearly want, the best for her, and not to push it when, I mean, the All-Star is important, but winning the last game of the season is probably more important. And so that's kind of where their focus is at. So a lot of respect to her, and a lot of people are bummed about it, but I'm pretty sure there's not going to be that much of an uproar for the simple fact meaning that she's still going to be around.
Bria, in conclusion here, the first half of the season is over. The Fever are 12-11 and have lacked consistency through the first 23 games. In the second half of the season, whether they have Caitlyn Clark or not, depending on however many games that may be, where can they be more consistent to result in more W's?
Well, so I'm gonna take yesterday's game out of it, just because that was just such an uncharacteristic level of play on our end, especially without Caitlyn Clark. So I'm gonna go back to that Minnesota game, and we didn't have the best start. However, we went on a run against a really, really good team, outscoring them by 20 points. And we might not ever see that again. However, we should have that confidence to go into these games with or without Caitlyn Clark of what we can do and how we can get it done. I know the ball moves a lot from one side to the other. I think the defense is all on one accord. I think that they do the little things right, such as running the ball in transition, making the right passes, cutting without the ball, movement without the ball. So if I had to just say one thing, I would probably just say the all-around focus, and don't dig yourself in a hole before you wake up and start playing basketball. You want to be able to go out from the tip and put them away early.
Bria, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us. Apologies that you had to hear Eddie Garrison's voice more than you'd probably like today.
Whoa.
We appreciate you joining us. I hope you have a hell of a WNBA All-Star weekend. Have a great time. And again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bria Goss, Fever announcer on the radio, has to listen to Eddie Garrison tell her when to break all the time. She's probably like, this guy again?
I don't have to tell them that. They know. John Nolan knows.
Well, then they're putting you on mute. You're on the pay no mind list. Then. Bria Goss, we appreciate it. That was courtesy of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Plenty more coming up. We got Matt Weaver talk some IU football. Mike Chappell at 5 o'clock. This is The Ride with JMV. Marc Dykton, Eddie Garrison, James Adams on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Describe the sound made when a sheep explodes.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
This is The Ride with JMV. I am Marc Dykton. Eddie Garrison over here as well. James Adams on the ones and twos. We've got some tickets to give away. You guys did not like my idea, I don't think.
This is Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah, come on now.
It is?
Yes.
You didn't know this was Bare Naked Ladies?
Nope.
Even though we talked about
what a great
giving away
this
the
is
tickets.
going to be, Eddie.
Nope. Never
this
heard
is
of
Bare Naked Ladies. This is one of their more popular songs, 1 Week. I love that song as well. I couldn't tell you the lyrics because the guy talks so fast. Fantastic band, Bare Naked Ladies. They're going to be at Everwise Amphitheater this Sunday night. And boy, as a kid who grew up in the 90s, this is a lineup that is like made for me. The Last Summer on Earth tour, Bare Naked Ladies with Guster, Sugar Ray, and Fastball. I saw Sugar Ray at Disney World back in the day.
In baseball.
Yeah. They are coming to town on Sunday. And how do we want to do this? Let's do caller. How many songs of Bare Naked Ladies does Eddie know? I would say 0.
Well,
we wouldn't get any callers.
We would not, yeah.
Let's go caller 5.
I'm afraid to look up Bare Naked Ladies on our computers, Mark.
Okay, see, my suggestion for this giveaway was you have to be caller 5 and then name the first bare naked celebrity you ever saw.
Could you name
And
yours?
James got very scared. I'm like, you work with JMV daily. That's pretty tame.
Could you name yours?
I've heard the show before. I've heard some of the guests that have come on here. That is pretty tame, I would say.
Could you name yours?
Oh boy, it was probably like an unintentional. It was probably a movie I wasn't supposed to be watching as a youth. I'm trying to think who it would be. I'm trying to think of how in the Wayback Machine where it goes.
Oh,
it was
for me,
probably
it's gotta be, the Bad Boys movie in the mortuary.
Mm-hmm.
Although she's not really a celebrity, I don't know who she is.
Now, I know this is JMV's show, so we're going to dip into the 80s. This was an unintentional thing. I didn't know that it was uncensored at the time. It was on TV because I think we had like free Showtime or something at my parents' house. And Porky's was on, and the infamous shower scene came on. So I don't know who it was I saw, but I saw a lot in that scene. So I would say it was those ladies out there is who I saw first. So them, obviously, there's the infamous Shannon Elizabeth scene in American Pie. That is my generation's version of Porky's. It would probably go there. So you want to go to Bare Naked Ladies, you know what to do. 239-1070. James is fidgeting on the phone and probably doing some Google searches to see who these people are that people are sounding off. But tickets to them on Sunday. We also have some Dierks Bentley tickets to give away later. Not right now, but later. So if you want to go to Bare Naked Ladies on Sunday, call the hotline there.
White River, right? Amphitheater?
Yeah, Everwise Amphitheater. Been out there many times. The upgrades are fantastic. It is a great time to see a show out there. I've already told Ashley we've got to go to a few shows that are coming up later this summer. So we will be out there. Maybe I might be there Sunday. Ashley loves Sugar Ray.
So
Sugar Ray is very
do you
good.
go to concerts for the... Okay, so you say you want to go there for a couple of concerts or whatever. Do you just pick them out based off of, musical act, or you just go, hey, we have a free weekend and we'll check out, whomever?
Usually we do. I mean, we have done it where we've done the pass by where you don't have to be in the arena to hear the concert, like we've been leaving an Indians game.
Yeah.
So, but we have gone. We brought my parents came in town one time and we saw the Beach Boys and the Temptations. That was a great show. We've seen Incubus and Deftones there. We saw Third Eye Blind a couple of times. Goo Goo Dolls. I'm trying to think who else we've seen, but it's been a good show. Rob Zombie. We saw Rob Zombie a couple years ago. That was a good show as well. So there's some good ones coming to town. Bare Naked Ladies, one of them. So
of course, on Saturday night at Everwise Amphitheater, it's Sidney Colson's comedy show.
Yes.
And,
I think
the Kid Leroy will be there.
I think that will be our debut at Everwise this year. I think we're going to go out to that. I would like to see that comedy show and report back on Monday of the goings on. But yeah, I think we're going to head out there as a family and take that show in. So that should be a good time as well. So plenty of action going out at Everwise. So again,
wait, Dropkick Murphys are out there on the 5th of August?
Dropkick, that is one I have circled. I would like to see Dropkick. I've seen them before. They are very good live. Very rare that they come out to Indy. So yeah, they are coming. And I believe who's touring with them? Is it Social Distortion or Rancid? Something like that. But that seems like a hell of a show as well. Bad Religion. They are great too. I've seen them at Riot Fest before and a few times. So yeah, there are some good concerts coming to town at Everwise there. So James is gathering information there. So you'll probably have another shot at Bare Naked Ladies one last time on Friday when John returns. I want to get this out of here, too. Don't forget that you can always join us all out at the golf outing, at the Legends Golf Outing, the Fan Invitational. That is at Legends Thursday, August 7th with a tee time of 10 o'clock, so a nice shotgun start there at the beautiful Legends Golf Club. We can talk to Jeff Rickard, James Boyd, Kevin Bowen, Jay Query, JMV. James Boyd going to be out at the Colts game for the preseason opener, so you maybe can FaceTime him at some point. He'll probably be excited to do that, so you can do that. It's also for a great cause for Franciscans, so make sure you're out there with the Franciscan Foundation, making a meaningful impact while enjoying a fantastic day on the course. Again, Thursday, August 7th at 10 a.m. at Legends Golf Club. Make sure you're ready for that. You can find tickets and all that other information on 1075thefan.com's website. I'll be out there at some point. Don't know how much golfing I'm going to do. I'm not the best golfer. I do it like once or twice a year. I have golf clubs. I would like to golf more. I just don't, and because I have 3 children now, so that usually takes my time away. But I've been told I must attend, so I will be there either after producing the show or if they get me out there and Kylan or Corbin are behind the controls or something, and I'm out there. But one way or another, I'll be out there and we'll have a good time. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm not sure what my status is, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be stuck here in the studio producing for Jake while he's out there having fun.
You know what, Eddie? I will drink for you, okay? I'll drink for 2 that day.
I mean, I'll drink water back here, but I will not partake in whatever beverages they will serve.
I'll be a few. And this one's for Eddie Garrison.
Are you going to go out there with JMV on whatever tee box he's on and try to hoop with him?
Well, I mean, are we going to have giveaways for boots to give away? We don't want any injuries here. JMV is a recipient of a current injury, and he had a boot on. Did we get a winner, James, by the way, for these Bare Naked Ladies tickets?
We did, after a little bit of difficulty, but we got one.
Did we get a reveal of who this was?
It was Rick Morris. I did not get any sort of naked lady information.
Darn.
All right, Rick. Well, I'm just going to go. Rick sounds like an older name, so I'm going to say that was probably I don't know, Zsa Zsa Gabor at some point. Whoever might have, whatever. An 80s topless scene, I'm sure he's come across once or twice. So shout out to Rick. Have fun at Bare Naked Ladies. That is Sunday, again, out at Everwise. So that should be a good time there. Mike Chappell coming up at 5. Obviously, some Colts thoughts going on here. We will have like I said, the Legends Golf outing, the Fan Invitational on August 7th. That is the preseason opener for the Colts. And Eddie, you mentioned earlier that Stephen Holder, the one and only on ESPN, who's been making the rounds on TV, he said that Anthony Richardson has been cleared for all football activities.
He did say that today, so it sounds like it'll be Richardson vs. Daniel Jones and what should be, depending on how the Colts view it, a quarterback battle, even though I think where we sit right now, it's advantage Daniel Jones, but we already talked about it once. You just have to wonder what they're viewing it as. Are they going to give Anthony Richardson a legit shot at winning it back, and how does he win it back, Mark? That's the bigger question I have, because a lot of these are scripted, and he didn't look terrible last year in training camp. The thought was that he had a solid camp a year ago, and if you're looking for more consistency out of Anthony Richardson, I just don't know what that looks like in scripted practices.
Well, my question to you, to tie this all into the golf outing on August 7th and the preseason opener, who will be the starting quarterback in the preseason opener? Is it Daniel Jones? Is it Anthony Richardson? Or are they going to say, no, you know what? We're going to have, we're going to have Riley Leonard.
Does that joint practice with Baltimore matter? Like, most of the time, whomever takes those reps with the starters in that joint practice game doesn't play.
See, it has in the past where they've said, oh, well, the joint practices. So, it's that was last year with Anthony Richardson, and I honestly think he still should have played more in the preseason. I think he could have used it. Whether joint practices be damned, I feel like that guy definitely could have used the reps. If you're doing a quarterback competition, you can't be sitting out one or both of those guys in the preseason games. If this is truly a competition and you're actually trying to win football games, which with Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard feet at the fire, you better be trying to win some football games. I don't know how many you're going to win, but you definitely need to be doing that. So there's no way you can be having them sit out of the preseason games at all, I don't think. I don't know how you're going to divvy up those reps, but that needs to happen. So we'll get more into that with Mike Chappell when he joins us at 5. We got Matt Weaver joining us at 4:30 to talk some IU football as well. It's the fan morning show. See, look what I'm doing. It's the Ride with JMV. I'm Marc Dykton, Eddie Garrison, James Adams here. We'll be back on the other side. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Excuse me, Robo. Any special message for all the kids watching at home?
Stay out of trouble. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
What is The Ride with JMV? He's out today. I think he'll be back tomorrow. So Marc, Dykton, Eddie Garrison holding down the fort while James Adams has the 1s and 2s and is fielding all the bare naked ladies calls. Apologies, James. Didn't mean to put that through you. Talked a little Colts here. We're going to talk some Colts with Mike Chappell coming up at 5. But I wanted to throw this out to you guys. Haven't really talked about it much. We've talked about, obviously, the quarterback competition coming to the Colts, and Anthony Richardson cleared for all football activities, according to ESPN's Stephen Holder. But we haven't really talked about, like, win projections for the Colts. And I'm not saying we're going to go through the exercise of win-loss, all that stuff. But curious what you're thinking as far as win total for the Colts. And it's kind of a two-part question because whatever your win total is, what does that mean for the rest of the franchise? Because I'm assuming not anyone's going to pick them to win the AFC South or go to the playoffs necessarily. But is there a win total for you guys that if the Colts reach this number, they'll run it back once again with Shane Steichen, Chris Ballard, and potentially either Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones or both?
So what, it's 7.5? Is that what the win total is
by
Vegas?
I believe so. That was the last thing I saw was, 7.5. I haven't looked in a while, so it might have updated. But just curious because I don't think the Colts are going to win many games this year. I'm not saying they're going to be like, the number one overall pick, but I also, again, I don't see them making the playoffs or anything like that. But I also am curious to see if there's a win total, like if they're 8 wins, if you're just under.
Yeah. There's 5 games on the schedule that they have to win, in my opinion. That they'll probably be the favorite heading into them. Both games against Tennessee, home against Arizona, home against Vegas, and maybe this is a stretch, one of those 2 Jacksonville games.
At Jacksonville? That's a big one.
Probably not, but yeah. The home game against Jacksonville. So those 5. You're talking about, in the way I'm thinking here, of stealing 3 other wins, whether that's a home opener, the season opener against Miami. You've got Atlanta, not here stateside, obviously. That's in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle. How does Seattle look with Geno Smith gone, Pete Carroll gone out of the organization? It's Mike McDonald. It's Sam Darnold. How does Houston look in Week 18? Are they in a situation where they've already locked up the AFC South, can't improve playoff positioning, and they don't have anything to play for, so they're just running it with the second unit? What does Pittsburgh look like? Like there are games on the schedule to where that it's a coin flip, but to answer the question you proposed of what would the win total be in order for the Pacers the Colts to run it back with Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard, I think it's got to be double digits. You got to hit 10, 9 or 10.
Oh boy, double digits or to make them come back. That's a tall order, I would say.
You don't? I mean,
but no, I agree that it should be that lofty. But for the Colts to win 10 games, good Lord!
So you're saying that
right? That would when we get those situations of like best case scenario, I would say the Colts getting double digits. That'd be in the stratosphere of best case scenario because I feel like you were just throwing stuff against the wall in the quarterback room. Your linebacker crew outside of Zaire Franklin is suspect at best. I don't really like what you're doing with the offense. Well, offensive line, we don't know, but you've changed out 40% of your offensive line. I think Pro Football Focus had a thing the other day where they still had them ranked as a top 5 unit in the league. And I'm like, you've changed out 2 of your 5 starting offensive linemen, and you're still a top 5 unit. I don't know about that. So there's a lot of uncertainty with that. Double digits, that is lofty. I mean, yeah, I would assume if they get to double digits, they are going to run it back because you're going to get an answer whether it's Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson. You're getting double digits at wins. One of those guys is playing.
Are you saying
good.
that if they win 8 games, you think that's worthy and constitutes another year of Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen?
I don't, but I also didn't think that Chris Ballard's return should have happened the last 2 years, and it's happened. So I'm curious once the daughters fully, they've taken over, but they're not going to make any major decisions like that right now. I'm assuming that's not going to come till the end of this season. So what does that mean? What do they want to get their stamp of approval? What do they think of Chris Ballard? Do they share their father's belief that he was a blue chip GM and that Shane Steichen is the next coming of Don Shula? I don't know, but boy, you're talking
in
10,
the realm of possibilities. 10 wins is doable with this schedule.
It is doable. That's also putting a lot of faith in the Colts to get it done on the field with something they haven't done. Because how many games have we talked about in years past? We're like, this is it, they got it, and then sure enough, they go down their leg, down the stretch. Oh, the Giants game, they got to get it. Jonathan Taylor drops the football short, and then
that's Denver. That was Denver.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Denver. Yeah. There's multiple games, Eddie, that this fall apart. So there's those games. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I was just curious because it was something that popped in my mind. They're like, if we're going. By the way, the Vegas line is 7.5 for the Colts, so that hasn't moved yet.
I'm a true degenerate at heart.
Huh?
I'm a true degenerate at heart.
Yeah, you do have a problem. I suggest calling a phone number. But yeah, I was just curious, like, how much needs to go right for this coaching staff and front office to be back yet again? Because we've said it before that we've thought that the hot seat was there for the coaching staff and specifically Chris Ballard as well in the front office. From a fan perspective, clearly that hasn't been the case when it comes to the fan base and what the ownership has thought. So curious your thoughts, James?
I'm not really sure that there's like a specific number that they need to hit. I think they need to make the playoffs, unless it's some weird scenario where they go 10-7 but somehow miss the playoffs through some sort of mathematical weirdness. I think they got to make the playoffs for them to even consider running it back with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, the AFC South has been ripe for the taking for how many years now, and the Colts still haven't done it. Like, every other team has done it at least once, and the Colts just can't get it done. So while it's the easiest division in football, the Colts also have failed to meet the task of winning that easiest division in football time in and time out. So a lot of expectations for this team going forward. I don't have a ton. Like I said, there's just too much in flux right now with the quarterback situation and all that stuff. Like, have you looked at the depth chart after Zaire Franklin when it comes to linebackers?
Have you looked at the depth chart outside the two safeties, the starters?
I know. I feel like there's always at least one or two problematic positions that heading into camp, and it's something I'll ask Mike Chappell coming up at 5. But the positional concerns, where are the position battles and where are there actual concerns on this roster where there is lack of depth or just guys that you don't know if they can step up? I know the pass rush outside DeForest Buckner and what are we doing here? I don't know. But linebacker crew outside of Zaire Franklin, I've said it earlier on the Fan Morning Show, it is like a Madden create a character and you're year 5 of your franchise. Like, who are these players?
Yeah.
Who is this? Are you sure this is a real person? Because it'll be like the generic photo of like when it's not actually a real person. It's just it's the
Madden generated.
It's the shadow figure or something like that. That's what it would be like. You're like, who are these guys? And they are going to compete for starting linebacker positions on this roster come training camp in less than a week. So
offensive line depth to me is still a concern.
Right. And
you cannot count on these 5 playing the entirety of the season. There's always going to be an injury somewhere along the case. And you're looking at the depth, and right now you can make the case that center has the only depth behind it. Jalen Travis is a work in progress tackle. Blake Freeland has had okay moments at tackle. So behind Bernard Ryman, that's your option there.
Do you trust the center, though, with Tanner Bortolini and whatnot? Because while you have depth there,
TBD, to be determined.
Well, you better figure that out in training camp because Kevin asked, most important position, one of the more positions of most importance. I said Tanner Bortolini or whoever they're throwing out there at center, if it's Wesley French or whoever, because
Danny Pinter,
that guy touches the football as much as the quarterback.
Yeah.
If you were having struggles to get the repetitions with Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones down, that means the offense is taking a deep dive very quickly. So you have Ryan Kelly not in there anymore. He's in Minnesota with Will Fries.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a guy who has not done it from beginning to end of the season. So your center position, I think, while you have depth there, do you have talent? Can you get a guy like a Ryan Kelly that can lock down the position going forward? Or is this going to be another rotation?
Does the decision at starting center impact the decision at starting quarterback? Because you look at things, Danny Pinter has had some run at starting at center.
Mm-hmm.
Tanner Bortolini has had minimal run starting at center. Daniel Jones has a lot of experience. Anthony Richardson doesn't have a lot of experience. And if you're looking for a guy that has to identify coverages, identify pressures, blitzes, et cetera, in the early campaign, in the early part of the season, and you're running out a newer center, do you run with Daniel Jones because of his ability of being around and seeing things more at the NFL level, or do you truly go with who you think may win the battle if it's Anthony Richardson? Like, I wonder if that plays into a role into it at all.
Or if one guy has more chemistry that maybe, hey, this guy we weren't exactly planning to be a starter.
Now, I do think Tanner Bortolini is probably going to win the job.
I'd be surprised. Would be an understatement to say if he doesn't get the starting center job that I'd be surprised no matter who the quarterback is. But if someone is showing, like if Anthony Richardson is showing, strides with Danny Pinter, when you're like, okay, well, and he's got more chemistry going than he does with Bortolini, do you go, okay, well, Anthony Richardson's our guy? Or, hey, Daniel Jones, we're going to pencil in as the starter, and he's got a good going with Bortolini. We're going to go that route.
Yeah, that'll be fascinating because that's all going to come in training camp. But the player that benefits the most, in my opinion, if you run with Daniel Jones, is Josh Downs. Because how many times did we see it when Daniel Jones was in New York with, Sterling Shepard and Wan'Dale Robinson? Those guys get Kadarius Toney peppered with targets because they're right around the line of scrimmage, and that was largely because of the poor offensive line that New York had when Wan'Dale targets because of the Daniel Jones was the quarterback. Now it's an upgrade, obviously, with Bernard Ryman, Braden Smith, and Quentin Nelson. Those three are three of the best linemen that he's probably played with his entire career. Yeah. So Josh Downs could be in for a big role just because of the way that Daniel Jones likes to pass the ball. He likes to get rid of it quick, get it out of his hands, and let the other players make their plays. And the player that we never really talk about, and it's kind of crazy, Mark, all the conversations this offseason, like you talk about the quarterback, you talk about the center, you've talked about the necessity of A.D. Mitchell to improve. What does Alec Pierce look like this year at the contract year? Nobody talks about Michael Pittman Jr. at all.
No.
Like, he played last year with a broken back.
Yeah, he's been Mr. Consistent. So I think that's why people kind of not discount him, but they aren't worried about him as much as they are with everybody else because he's shown that he can be out there and he can play and he can produce no matter who's the quarterback. So I think they're like, okay, like he's been there. He's paid like a number one wide receiver. I think they're more worried about the depth behind him. So obviously Tyler Warren getting added as a tight end would be nice to have him as a difference in the passing game. Alec Pierce, he's looking pretty good, but obviously his contract is coming up soon. You got to see what the decision is there because you've already paid Michael Pittman Jr. Alec Pierce is going to be due. Josh Downs is going to be due. You can't be paying everybody at wide receiver, especially I know you don't have an answer at quarterback necessarily. Right. That doesn't mean you're throwing money around like you're the New York Jets right now, paying everybody top dollar that isn't a quarterback. So, I mean, Kevin mentioned earlier on the morning show that he asked, would you, if the Colts, if you were a member of the Colts, then you can make decisions in the front office. If another team came calling and offered Alec Pierce for a second-round draft pick, would you take that? Because apparently that was an offer that was on the table that the Colts turned down in the offseason, that Alec Pierce for a second-round pick.
Then you sure as hell better extend him because, like, if you're not...
I got a little bit... He told me that they obviously declined that, and my thought was, well, the Pacers just lost Miles Turner after a decade. They got nothing out of him, and you're telling me someone offered a second-round pick for Alec Pierce?
Now, you don't know where that second is, of course.
That's true, and I didn't know, and I don't think we got context of whether it was for this year's draft pick or next year's, and I get it. Alec Pierce has shown that he can produce in the NFL. I also know that, again, you have to pay him then. So if you're going to pay him, that's more money that's getting allocated to the wide receiver position. And when you don't know who your quarterback is going to be next season, that's a lot of money you're tying up for years and years that could go to other positions of need. And I don't know, a second-round pick, those are highly sought after. Like, you can bundle picks now and get back in the first round with two second-round picks.
Not to mention, just look at the track record of Ballard in the second round. Two of the key players on the offense were second-round picks. Bernard Ryman was not a first-round pick, and he's going to be, a top half-paid left tackle in the NFL. And Ballard's had success in the second and third rounds. I was kind of surprised that he didn't do that, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised, too, because, again, then, like you asked, does that mean you're extending him? Because if you're not extending him...
You're going to pay him $20 million?
I am not, but I would also say that if you're...
Would you? Does that one trick that he has up his sleeve of being able to create so much separation and get down the field, is that like Deshaun Jackson?
I know the salary cap is going up in the NFL like every year exponentially, but and that maybe that'll be the norm. I can't imagine paying Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce north of $20 million per season and you don't know who your quarterback is going to be going forward. I wouldn't do that. I would take the second-round pick. I would, as much as I like Alec Pierce, I would rather take the second-round pick and reinvest it into a wide receiver that maybe has the same skill set or potential, and he's on a rookie deal. So you're not paying new money to Alec Pierce. You're paying rookie money to a wide receiver that you hope can blossom into an Alec Pierce.
So,
I feel like that is the problem with this season heading into the Colts, is that there's so much uncertainty beyond this season that it's hard to say, outside of Bernard Ryman, who would you commit money to going forward? Bernard Ryman is the only guy who, if they come out before training camp and say, we've signed so-and-so to a contract extension, if it's not Bernard Ryman, my eyebrows are going to raise, because Bernard Ryman should be the one that is locked up heading into training camp.
I'm quite surprised they haven't done it already.
I know. He's one of the most important positions in the NFL. Left tackles are making money hand over fist. He's a proven commodity when it comes to left tackle. If the Colts don't pay him, somebody else will. We've seen what free agent left tackles are going for on the open market. So I would, if that contract already isn't getting hammered out already, I would hope they get it done by the time preseason gets underway. But if he doesn't, if they don't commit to him, Bernard Ryman, once the season goes, can say, okay, I'm going to test the waters in free agency, and then the Colts might be paying hand over fist to keep him next year. So,
do you think that would be, because this is another part of it, does Ballard have the order to do an extension right now?
Boy, that's a great question. Yeah, with the Irsay daughters taking over, you kind of wonder what their long-term future is for, making moves like that. Would they be sellers at the trade deadline? Would they be buyers at the trade deadline if things are going well? That is a great question that we don't have the answers to. You got any Colts thoughts? 239-1070 is the phone number. As always, if you want to weigh in, we'll have Mike Chappell coming up at 5. That is a great question for Mike Chappell as well. Do we think that Chris Ballard has the autonomy to be able to make decisions? You would hope so. He's put in, almost a decade with that team.
Well, I'm saying this from the aspect of maybe they say, hey, we're going to hold off on making any contract extensions because we want to see how this season plays out. And they want to let whomever the next person in Chris Ballard's chair is to handle that contract extension.
Well, if I'm Chris Ballard, I would say then if you don't think I'm the right person for the job, you can just fire me now. If you're not going to let me make decisions on this roster. If you've entrusted me with the roster this season, then, if we should bring back Bernard Ryman next year, that should be a decision that I should be able to make.
But they weren't the ones who trusted him to start this season.
That's true, but you'd have to imagine he has some sort of relationship with them.
Well, yes. And you're not going to fire a GM this late or this early into the season or late into the season, however you want to view it.
Yeah, I mean, boy, that's a road I didn't really think about. But I have to imagine that if Chris Ballard comes to the owner's office and is like, we need to sign Bernard Ryman to an extension. I mean, Carly's been out there. She knows what he brings to the table. I can't imagine she's saying, no, we're going to let it play out and see what's going on. Because if you lose Bernard Ryman in free agency, you're really next year's offensive line. We think this year's is in flux. Imagine losing the left tackle and heading into next season with even more unknowns. I can't even imagine that. That seems like hell, Eddie. That seems like football hell, and I don't really want to go down that path.
TJ Watt just got a mega deal. 3 years, $123 million.
I mean, it's good to be TJ Watt on a Thursday.
That's 41 per year. Highest of any non-quarterback in the NFL in the history of the sport.
Well, I guess we can kill those rumors that TJ Watt was on the trade block because I don't think he's going anywhere. Trey Hendrickson, though, still out there. If Lou Anarumo wants a running buddy from Cincinnati.
I don't think they have the money now to do that.
Yeah, you want to talk about ownership decisions and all that stuff. I don't know if the Colts are making those kind of outlandish trades right out of the gate.
The highest two non-paid quarterbacks are now both in the AFC North. TJ Watt and Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, okay. Boy, good Thursday for TJ Watt. There you go. The big news in Indianapolis today, obviously, the note that Caitlyn Clark posted on the Fever's website. Caitlyn Clark not going to participate in the three-point contest or the All-Star game. She released a statement a couple hours ago, says, well, I'm so excited for Indy to host the WNBA All-Star this weekend. I want to thank the Indianapolis Host Committee for all the people that have put endless work in over the past year to put this event together. I know this will be the best All-Star yet. I'm incredibly sad and disappointed to say I can't participate in the three-point contest or the All-Star game. I have to rest my body. I will still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all the action, and I'm looking forward to help Sandy coach our team for a win. Can't wait to see you all out there. Signed, Caitlyn Clark. So out for All-Star Weekend. Not shocking news, disappointing for those coming from out of town to see Caitlyn Clark and all that. How much of the off-court activities she's a part of, I don't know. But obviously a huge blow to WNBA All-Star Weekend. Still be a great time, still be a lot of fun, but seeing their star player of the league go out in the home city that she plays in, disappointing no matter what's going on.
It is disappointing, but Indiana still has two representatives, the Fever do, in the All-Star game. Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Both of them have been really, really good and really consistent for the most part this season. It does suck for Caitlyn that she cannot contribute in any of the festivities on the court that she was hoping to make her WNBA All-Star Weekend debut with and at. I am fascinated to see what it looks like from an off-the-court perspective now. Does she still, I'm assuming she will be still involved in panel discussions, and the CBA discussions are going on this week and here, and she's supposed to be one of the faces, a part of the players that will be representative with the WNBA commissioner and everyone else that'll be a part of those negotiations. That's going to be the big one, because there's already been reports coming out, Mark, I don't know if you've seen these, that there's already somewhat of an anticipation of a stoppage of the 26th season, that they won't start on time because the negotiations are going to take so long at the WNBA between the Players Association and the league to get it done.
Yeah, I've seen those reports. That would be horrific if there is a work stoppage, considering that all eyes are on the WNBA more than there ever have been before. You've got star power in the league, whether it's Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, Asia Wilson, whoever it may be. You've got more star power than you ever have before. The TV rights deal, I get it. It's going to be a mega deal, whatever it might be. But you can't get to a work stoppage at that point. You guys got to realize that the league is at an all-time high as far as interest and fan viewership and all that stuff. You guys are the WNBA is selling out basketball arenas, hockey arenas, and all that because of just one player on the Indiana Fever.
It'll be like that next year for whomever drafts Juju Watkins too.
Yeah,
like that's another great that's coming into the sport next year.
Women's college basketball and pro women's basketball has never been more higher interest than ever before. So you want to talk about taking a kneecap in yourself? It would be having a work stoppage at the height of your popularity. I know baseball seems to do it every time that they do it, and baseball struggles to recover. That would be horrific for the WNBA if they have a work stoppage after you have, some of the biggest names in women's college basketball history in the league, and then all of a sudden there's a work stoppage.
I forgot that Juju's not even eligible until 2027, so that's 2 years away.
Well, there you go.
But you had to throw in baseball, didn't you? I mean, don't get me started on Major League Baseball and the problems that they have.
Well, I'm not going to get you started.
I thought the swing off for the All-Star game was great. I thought it was good. The only complaint that I had was the fact that your stars for the American League were leaving after they got pulled. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You got these reserves that just sat there and watched you play for 4 innings. Do the same level of professional courtesy and respect.
Somebody told me that, because everybody's like, why didn't Aaron Judge play? I'm like, well, he took a shower already. I'm like, we're saving water at the All-Star game. You can't take another shower?
Some of them had left. Like, they got on a plane and were heading back home already.
I mean, come on now.
Tarek Skubal was the starter in the game for the American League, and during the swing-off, he was just in like a button-up shirt and some pants or shorts.
Starting pitchers, I understand, but like Aaron Judge, taking a shower, just wait a minute. Just grab another bag of Big League Chew and just like sit down for a little bit. Just take a shower before we get out of here. Speaking of coming up, not Aaron Judge, but we will put the baseball note aside. Talk a little IU football coming up. Matt Weaver of Peegs.com going to join us on the other side. Got some questions for him regarding the non-conference schedule of the Indiana Hoosiers. Also, is there a bison that's going to be roaming the Bloomington campus soon? We'll get more of that, more Matt Weaver on the other side. This is The Ride with JMV, Marc Dykton, Eddie Garrison, James Adams, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
the Bet365 Command Center. Get your race updates here all month long and make sure to enter for your chance to win $500 by predicting the winner of this year's race on July 27th. Go to 1075thefan.com to enter. Now, here's your 2025 race update brought to you by Bet365.
NASCAR in Dover this weekend at the Dover Motor Speedway. After they complete those 400 laps in the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400, they will make their way to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Stuff starting on Thursday, but practice coverage is at noon, and then that is on Friday. On Saturday, you will have the Pennzoil 250 race, and of course on Sunday, the Brickyard 400. Last year's winner was Kyle Larson. It was the first time that Larson has won on the oval at IMS. And fun fact here, Team Penske has only won the Brickyard 400 once. That was Brad Keselowski a couple of years ago. You can get all your ticketing information by going to IndianapolisMotorspeedway.com. Of course, we will have plenty of coverage on the Fan with track updates. And if you have a race prediction already, go to 1075thefan.com, click on the contest page, and courtesy of Bet365, you have a chance to win $500. Go to 1075thefan.com, click on the contest page for your prediction for the Brickyard 400.
The Ride with JMV.
Talk about your Psalms. Talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, hell yeah. It's Marc, Dykton, and Eddie Garrison in for JMV today. James Adams on the ones and twos. I love that rejoiner. Warms my wrestling heart, James. I know you're a wrestling fan as well. Appreciate you joining us today. We are taking you all the way up till 6 o'clock today to the unofficial producers show today. And joining us right now on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline is none other than Matthew Weaver of Pigs.com. I want to talk some IU football because the smell of football is right around the corner, not just Colts-wise, but college football-wise. And, Matt, appreciate you joining us today. I'm going to get right out of the gate. What is up with this non-conference schedule that the Hoosiers are trotting out here for 2025?
Well, I mean, there's been obviously they made news recently with, dropping the Virginia series, and I think they had to pay, $500,000 to Virginia to get out of that. I see both sides of it. I mean, I get it. I'm sure they're taking a lot of flack. They're ducking opponents. But we've seen this week the Big Ten, and I'm not making excuses, but they play 9 conference games. Other conferences play, like the SEC plays 8. If I'm at a school like Indiana, I'm not scheduling a 10th basically conference game against another P4 opponent. I'm going to try to schedule the right way. When I say the right way, I'm saying the right way for success. And the thing for me, though, personally, if I look at it from a fan's point of view, I would have liked to see them to keep the Virginia series. I think that was like 27 and 28. I think you would feel good about where your program's at. I don't think that's a game where it's very winnable. Both games, not saying you're just going to go in and win, but I see the point of view, but I also see Indiana's point of view about why they're doing it. I don't think it's the greatest look ever, but, it is what it is. They're trying to schedule for a certain way, and if I was at 8 conference games in the Big Ten, I'd be much more open to scheduling a non-conference opponent against a P4 team. Like I said, I personally would have kept it, but like I said, there's two points of view, and I see both. I'm not trying to straddle the fence. It is what it is. But like I said, if it was me, I would have kept the games and gone out there and show what you can do.
What is the reason for canceling the home Virginia? Like, if you gave Kurt Signetti the truth serum, is it just that you don't want to possibly take an L? Because it's not like we're talking to LSU or Texas or anything. It's not even Virginia basketball. It's Virginia football. Like, we're not. I don't really get the logic of what canceling that series does for lesser opponents, other than just gives you more of a cupcake schedule.
That's one thing I could think of as to why. And one of the problems is if this was an Ohio State or a Michigan or a Bama. I'm not saying they would back out, but it would be looked at a little bit differently because they're those schools, and there's more margin for error for them, so to speak. Like Indiana, what was the big talking point about the playoff? their schedule was not great. Now the Big Ten, the conference schedule, they can't help that. They can't help that Maryland was down, Michigan State wasn't as good. Some of these schools they played didn't live up to expectations. But what you can control, obviously, is your non-conference. So it puts you in a kind of paints yourself in the corner where, obviously you got to do well in the conference to make the playoff. But now you really got to do well. You just can't win games. You need to win kind of like you did last year. And I'm not, that makes it to me, it almost makes the road harder, if that makes sense. Even though you're taking on a lesser opponent, because I just think you kind of get viewed unfavorably when you schedule, a certain way. But like I said, Indiana did it. They paid the money to do it. I think they did it to get kind of 3 easier games when you're playing a tough conference schedule. But I kind of like to see them keep that series and not gotten out of it.
He's Matt Weaver on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline, covers the Indiana University football, and they're recruiting for Peaks.com. I mentioned this with Marc a little bit earlier. Do you think his time talking about Kirk Cignetti with Nick Saban had an impact on how he views scheduling non-conference games? Because Alabama used to be the same way.
I'm guessing it does. A lot of things that, how he does his program. Now, he's his own guy, obviously. But I'm sure there's a lot of things that in the way they do the program that he's kind of adopted and kind of uses as his own. For years, Alabama has scheduled like an FCS opponent, like right at the end of the season, like second to third last game, which honestly, if you think that, it's smart. It's basically like a week off.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You're going to play your starters for about a quarter and a half, maybe the first half, and then those guys are going to go sit. You're going to play, third and fourth stringers and keep those guys healthy as you get into, the Iron Bowl or maybe the second, the last game. And then obviously for them going to play most likely in the SEC championship. So it makes sense. But I would think it played a part. I don't know how much that plays a part. It was an interesting, when I saw the announcement, I was kind of eyebrow raising, but then again, obviously Indiana, they've had some track record of kind of, jumping ship on some of these games that they've gotten into.
Matt Weaver at Peaks.com joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. Matt, so isn't that going to, because I had a couple Hoosiers fans say, what's the big deal? Everybody books cupcake schedules, everything. I said, yeah, but at the end of the season, the committee is going to determine strength of schedule. And if you're putting up Kennesaw State and Old Dominion and all that, it's going to hurt you in the long run, is it not? Because I feel like Kurt Cignetti and the team got a bit of a pass last year with their schedule. But now if you're going back and doing this again, at some point, is it going to bite you in the ass at some point?
Yeah, like I said, even though you're playing an easier team, I think it could make it, it makes your road a little bit harder to get to the playoffs just because it puts you in a position where in the conference games, you really not just win, but I think you've got to win some games kind of going away. Like, if you're playing what we maybe might be like an average or mediocre conference team, name somebody from last year. Michigan State was like, if that's a close game instead of whatever they won by 30 points, like if you play another P4 team and you beat them, I don't think maybe a close call in conference maybe hurts you as much, if that makes sense. I think it just puts you in a position where you have fewer chances to make an impression on the committee or whatever to get in the playoff. And, if you stumble or you have an off day and you win, but you don't win convincingly or impressively, then I think it puts you in a position where, you kind of did this to yourself. You made it a little bit harder while at the same time trying to make it easier. I know that sounds a little bit kind of backwards, but that's kind of how I view it. You didn't challenge yourself. And I think and after last year, I think, Indiana, they went to Notre Dame and they struggled for most of the game. And people pointed to the schedule and they did not, I won't say they didn't look like they belonged, but they looked like a team that maybe people were right about going into the playoff.
4 players are back that are key for Indiana. You've got D'Angelo Pons, Mikhail Kamara, Aiden Fisher, and Elijah Surratt, all of them named on the Field Steel preseason All-American teams. Of course, Curtis Work now departs. He is in the NFL. Insert Fernando Mendoza. He's now the quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers this upcoming year and hopefully beyond that. But if it's not, that typically means he had a really, really good year and the NFL desires his talent. What do you expect this Hoosier offense to look like compared to last year with Mendoza helming the quarterback spot now?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any drop off, and I think there's a chance that they could even be a little bit better. And obviously they were really good last year, one of the top in not only the country but in the Big Ten. So, I think Mendoza, as good as Curtis Rourke was, and he was terrific, I think Mendoza is an upgrade. He's, as far as throwing the ball, I think he's arguably a better passer. And then he gives you a little bit, more as far as being able – I don't think they're going to do a ton where he keeps the ball and runs. But if things break down, Rourke kind of tried to prolong plays, tried to, maybe move around in the pocket to find an open receiver. I think Mendoza's a guy that – I don't think you want him doing this a bunch, but you want him, if there's a way to escape the pocket and make some yards with his legs, he can do that. He showed that. And last year at Cal, he kind of had to. I think he was sacked like 40 times. He had the kicked out of him because his O-line was just not very good. I think the O-line will be a lot better, but he's got a ton of weapons. You mentioned Surratt, Omar Cooper. E.J. Williams is a guy that I think has a chance to have a big year. They've got some talent at running back with Roman Hemby and Kalon Black and Lee Beebe. So there's weapons, and I think the O-line will be a little bit better than it was last year. So I think this is going to be an explosive offense. As long as obviously health will be key, as it is with everybody, but they stay healthy. I think they got a chance to put up big numbers.
Matt, I will get you out on this. I'm sorry I buried the lead, but Kevin Bone, my colleague on the morning show, said, first of all, shout out to Matt. He said, send my regards. And also he wanted me to pose you this question. We getting a real Bison on campus next season with Hoosier the Bison being reinstated, or is this going to be some dude in a costume?
That's honestly when I saw the announcement, that's the first thing I thought of. Is it going to be, isn't it Colorado, did they run out on the field like 3 or 4 people holding like the leash for the, yeah. So I don't know. Are they going to do that at IU? I have no idea, but I actually am very interested in seeing it. I don't know if it'll be some guy dressed up. Those first couple of games, that might be a brutal outfit to wear in that heat. So I don't know if I'd want that job, but I'm interested to see if they actually have a real Bison and they come out of the field or do something with it, have some kind of tradition. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I paid a little bit of attention to this, but not a ton. But I am very curious about how they're going to go about, doing this on game day.
I want the real thing. Do the real thing or don't do it at all. Every time I go up to Northwest Indiana to see my family, there's a legit bison farm off of 41 that you see every single time. Grab one of those things. Those things look massive. They look majestic. Rent one of those things and bring it out there.
Sounds good to me. I think it would be very cool if you did that.
You want to get people excited about the non-conference schedule? Send a real bison out there with Kurt Signetti.
Have him ride it into the stadium?
Oh hell yeah. With a pack of smokes and ripping a dart while he's doing it. Hell yeah. Matt Weaver, appreciate the time. Peegs.com is where you can find your work, and we will check in as we approach football season, all right?
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate the time. That is Matt Weaver on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Coming up at the top of the hour, Mike Chappell, the Dean, will talk some Colts with you. It's Marc Dykton, Eddie Garrison, James Adams on the ride with JMV on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Picture me? No! The definition of the word idiot, which you f***ing are.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
If I am correct here, James Adams, this is Dierks Bentley, right?
You are correct.
Now, I don't know many country artists or songs. I know this one. This is Somewhere on a Beach, right? Now, James, is that where JMV is at today? I know he was in yesterday. Did he just take like an exit route and just go to a beach somewhere?
I think he had to go down to Greene County, but
Didn't
I'm not 100%
he just have like 3
sure.
days off to go do that?
He may have.
What color are we going with, Mark?
How about this? Since the bare naked ladies like request went down in flames.
So do we? Okay, I know we were going with this, but finish. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I asked for originally. I said fifth caller, but you have to name like the first nude scene you ever saw in the film. That didn't go well. We had Rick to win the tickets. That's fine. No big deal. This one, how about caller 3 gets the first crack at a pair of tickets for Dierks Bentley. Bentley, how about this? The fanciest car you've ever driven in.
Okay, I was going to say, do we take multiple calls and then when we are the judge and the jury, we make the decision on which?
Do we need to make it that complicated? I don't know. I mean, if someone says like a Mercury Village or whatever, shout out, that was my first car, was the minivan. Rocking the Mercury Villager in high school, that was quite the way to get the ladies.
Chick magnet, right?
Oh, you rolled it down like, I got the soccer mom car. I can fit 6 more in this bad boy. Who wants to roll? Let's go to A&W.
Mine was a Tahoe, a Chevy Tahoe.
Oh,
My
yeah?
mom's old Chevy Tahoe, yes.
Yeah, I mean, when your parents offer you a car, like, I don't, as long as it has 4 wheels and it drives somewhere, I didn't care what it was. So the Mercury Villager was a 96 Mercury Villager. I remember it. I can see the color. It was like this navy blue color. And I can also remember, I don't think they do this on cars anymore. Do you remember the keypad? You'd have the keypad on the door to get into the car.
Yes.
That car had it. 805555. That's how you got in. Boom. So if you have that 96 Villager, you can crack the code.
I am a familiar, never had a car with the keypad. I was always curious how it worked. Like, how do you program it?
I mean, my parents did it. I don't know. I just remember you could push it, and then you push the enter button here, click, and it would open. All right, who do we have on the air right now, James?
We have got Daryl on the line.
Daryl, what's up, man? How you doing this morning?
Show.
What's up, Daryl? Say that again. Sorry, you cut out. What'd you say?
I said great show.
Thank you, sir.
Wait, is this
on every day?
Is this St. Louis Cardinals fan, Daryl?
It is not. It's Detroit Tigers Lions fan.
Okay, that's acceptable. I was going to say, Cardinals fan, we might have to hang up on you, but that's okay. You're okay. All right, Daryl, you want to go to Dierks Bentley. You get the first crack at it. I need the fanciest car that you drove in.
Fanciest car I ever drove in was a Bentley convertible.
Okay, so he actually drove in a Bentley. I feel like contest is over right there.
Drove in a Bentley to go see Dierks Bentley?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of nailed it. Were you actually driving, or are you in like the shotgun?
I was driving the vehicle with somebody. We got the car in Vegas, and we drove around in Vegas and picked it up at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas.
So this was like a rental car situation?
Yep.
And you picked out, man, what does it cost to rent a Bentley in Vegas? I can't imagine that's cheap.
$1,850 for one day.
Oh, good Lord.
Did you have a good time at the Golden Nugget? Did you win it all back?
Oh, no. We ended up winning $23,000. That's why we got the Bentley.
Good grief.
Man had a great weekend.
Hope
in
you went to
Vegas.
the Bunny Ranch as well to celebrate. Good Lord.
No need to go to the Bunny Ranch.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, contest is over. I'm calling it. That was... Boy, oh boy.
I agree.
Have fun at Dierks Bentley. Don't rent a Bentley to go see him, but thank you for the story and enjoy the tickets. That is Saturday at Ruoff. Daryl, have a great rest of the day, okay, man?
All right, thanks. Do I need to hang on?
Yeah, get some info from James on the other side. Hang in there. So, holy moly. I most for a rental car I think I've ever spent, and it made me sick, was like $280, and that was because, we're in Florida and stuff, so I was just trying to get through. I was like, we need something, but that was like in the heart of COVID when they were doing the deep cleanings, as they said, because all the costs for it was that. It was like $280 for like, I don't even remember what it was. It was a Kia Rio or something like that. So
what's the nicest car you've ridden in or drove?
Probably it was also in Vegas, and it was a rental car, but they had it was just Ashley and I at the time. No kids, nothing like that. But we were going to my sister-in-law's wedding in Vegas, and we needed a rental car because we were going out a few days early because we were going to go to California and do Disneyland and all that stuff because Ashley had never been to California. So I was like, well, it's just the two of us. Like, just give me whatever. So I said, like, economy car, and I just said, like, we needed, like, two seats at the most or whatever like that. And they rolled it out, and it was like, I almost have to look it up because I think I'm going to misrepresent what it was. It was like a Dodge Dart, but like a reimagined one. So it was almost like a hot sports car. It was bright orange and all that stuff. So it looked good. It didn't cost as much as I thought it was going to. But they said, we have this one if you'd like the free upgrade. And I was like, sure, I'll do that. So we did that, enjoyed it very nice. And, yeah, it was like a sports car and everything like that. So we rolled around in that. So.
Typically, whenever we did family vacations growing up, we always drove to where we were going. So whether it was Florida, Georgia, or wherever, but I don't know why I remember this, but I was a young kid and we went to Disney and we had this convertible. And Dad, if you're listening, please text me. I don't know what car it was because I was too young to know cars, but all I remember was being crammed in the back seat and it was a convertible. And I'm going to say that's probably the nicest car I've been in.
See, I've already misrepresented. It was not Dodge Dart. It was Dodge Challenger. So my mistake. I've already screwed that up because Dodge Dart, those look like garbage. So that was not the car I drove in.
That was like the knockoff crossover version of the Challenger and the Charger.
That was not accurate at all. But so for a guy who grew up with the Mercury Villager being his first car, you see a Dodge Challenger like this. I'm driving a Bentley right now. That is what this is. That's what it felt like. So, how many cars have you spent most money on? Did you spend as much as Daryl did? Good Lord, 1,800.
No, never.
I mean, that's more than I spend on vacations. I understand you hit it big in Vegas, but even hitting it big in Vegas, I'd still be like, I need to get out of here. I can bank this for the football season. I can do something else with it. That is wild, but. Dirks Bentley this Saturday we gave away. Is that all the tickets we've given away today? We gave away Dirks Bentley and Bare Naked Ladies. All right, that's it for that.
That's a thumbs up. That's the proverbial sign that we need to shut up and probably need to get to a break.
Shout out to Rick and shout out to Daryl. Have fun at the concerts. Plenty more chances. I'm sure you got another set of tickets to give away coming up with JMV tomorrow. We've got Mike Chappell, the dean, coming up to talk some Colts. Plenty of questions there. Anthony Richardson, a full go with football activities, according to Stephen Holder. He mentioned that earlier on ESPN. So a healthy Anthony Richardson, does that mean a renewed quarterback competition, or is it still Daniel Jones's team to lose? Eddie, you say what before we get to Mike Chappell?
I think it's a Daniel Jones battle to lose right now.
Yeah, I tend to think the same thing. Also, Pacers Summer League underway right now. They're currently playing the Mike Brown-led Knicks in Summer League. That is going on right now. Johnny Furphy not playing. Am I correct? I have not seen him out there. I don't believe.
No Johnny Furphy, no Quentin Jackson, and no Ray J. Dennis. So a lot of on-ball point guard duties for Cam Jones.
Yeah,
in this
so
one.
We are we're doing that thing in Summer League where the veterans, quote unquote, of the team are kind of taking a break as we near the end of Summer League. So Pacers underway with the Knicks right now. Mike Chappell, the dean, talking Colts with us on the other side. It's the Ride with JMV, Marc Dykton, Eddie Garrison, James Adams on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's the Ride with JMV, a.k.a. the Producers Show today. I'm Marc Dykton, Eddie Garrison, and James Adams here as well. We've not been thrown off the air just yet, and thanks to our next guest joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. They might keep us on at least 20 more minutes or so left. That is the Dean, the longtime Colts reporter. He is Mike Chappell. He joins us today. Mike, thank you so much for joining us on the Producers Show, a.k.a. JMV, today.
Oh, glad to be with you, and I will not get you fined or thrown off the air, I promise.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you very much for joining us. Saw that Anthony Richardson has been cleared for all football activities. Eddie and I have been debating it most of the show. Does that mean the quarterback competition between he and Daniel Jones is back on, or is the coaching staff still going to play it safe with Anthony Richardson when camp starts in a few days?
Well, it'll probably be a balance. To my knowledge, the Colts still haven't had hands on yet to evaluate where he's at. It's my understanding he's been throwing for a few weeks with some zip, so he's been throwing. Now, whether that means he's full go come next week, whether it means they'll still ease him in, at some point they can't ease him in. There has to be he's back and he's taking his assigned reps, or else how are you supposed to determine who your quarterback is? That would mean it's Daniel Jones. So at some point, sooner rather than later, Richardson really needed to be back, back where it's not a throw heavy today and ease off tomorrow and then throw heavy the next day. But they're going to monitor it. I don't think we'll know until next week. We'll talk to Chris Ballard on Tuesday, I think it is. He'll tell us as much as he can. Again, they need him back to where he can do his job. It's like with any other player. If they head to camp with something that's still nagging, you don't push it. But this is a little different with a quarterback because he needs to be competing. And I always thought it was really, really important when Richardson was cleared to throw. If we had got there next week and they said, yeah, we think he's going to be cleared in a couple of days, well, that would have been an awful sign. So here at least he's been throwing, because when we talked to Shane Steichen after this came up in late May, it was no timetable. When he's cleared, we'll ease him back in. But that was with the information he had. I think it's very, very encouraging that he's been throwing for some period of time like a quarterback throws. So now we'll just see when we get there next week if he will be able to kind of do his job. Maybe they ease him in the first few days, but the longer they ease him in or have him on a pitch count, the worse it'll be from a quarterback competition standpoint. So, but I think it's very encouraging that he's already started throwing.
Mike Chappell of Fox 59 and CBS 4 joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Mike, I've thrown this scenario out here. I want you to tell me if this is an ideal situation, not ideal, or if I'm just insane. For my money, I would say the ideal situation for this quarterback situation heading into preseason and the regular season is Daniel Jones is your week 1 starter. You ride that out for as long as it goes. And then if he starts struggling, you tap Anthony Richardson on the shoulder, you go to him, and you ride out Anthony Richardson, good, bad, or indifferent, the rest of the season. That way you get a clear answer on him. Daniel Jones gets some reps as well, and if he goes on to another team next season, there it is. But you get your final answer on Anthony Richardson. Your thoughts on that scenario?
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's okay.
I think the ideal situation is that Anthony Richardson wins the job and stays on the field for, 15 games, because he's going to miss a couple games because of the way he plays. And then maybe Daniel Jones, and then Daniel Jones comes in and holds the fort for a couple games. I don't think it's a very favorable scenario to have Daniel Jones be the starter until he falters, and then you go back to Richardson. The worst thing they can do, in my mind, is go back and forth. One guy starts because he had a better pre-training camp, and then he has a bad game or two, so they go to the other guy, and then he has a bad game or two. That's a case of if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterback.
Yeah.
So I do, and I've said from the start, and I haven't changed. Ideally, this team needs Richardson to be the guy. It just does. 4th round pick. You've invested time and money in him, and if he is the guy, then there's a course forward for status quo. As long as they have success and they're in the right direction at the end of the season. Because if not, let's say that he starts and gets hurt, or Jones gets the job and takes them 10-7, and they make the playoffs, wild card, or almost make the playoffs, but they played well. You get to the end of the season, and maybe by then you know what you have with Richardson, which isn't what you want. And Daniel Jones is your starter, and he has no contract. So then you're going to have to invest a decent contract in Daniel Jones. Well, that didn't work out in New York, so this is going to be interesting how this thing plays out.
Yeah, I should say my reasoning for that, for saying Daniel Jones starts week 1, is just because of the Anthony Richardson injury situation. I feel like they can say, well, he missed time. We want him to go slow and get back to 100%, so we're going to take the pressure off of him that way. And then you go to Daniel Jones, or you go to Anthony Richardson at some point if Daniel Jones starts to struggle. That was my logic for there. I should have prefaced that the injury situation playing a role in Anthony Richardson not getting the week 1 starter. Because I feel like if it goes the other way and you go Anthony Richardson and he struggles mightily, I mean, if you go to Daniel Jones at that point, aren't you pulling the ripcord on the whole Anthony Richardson experience?
Well, yeah. But I think it's at the point that they can't worry too much about the Richardson injury issue. He's got to play. He's got to play his game, which means run, but understand when enough's enough. Try to avoid the big hits. I think the time of trying to protect the quarterback from himself, that means him not being who he is. And I thought we saw when he came back from the benching last year, he started playing like they want him to play. He had some great games running the ball, which for a quarterback is 60 or 70 yards. And still the passing game's not there yet, which doggone it, he's a quarterback. He's got to make plays out of the pocket. But he needs to prove 2 things. He can stay healthy, which in my mind means 15 starts, 14, 15 starts. And he needs to play better, doggone it. You can't play quarterback in the NFL completing 47% of your passes. Can't do it. I would like to see him complete 60%. I think that's a high bar for him. So, but he's got to, it's the old make the layups. The home runs are great. The deep balls to Pierce and Pittman and even Downs, those are great. But boy, when it's 3rd and 7, keep the chains moving. And to this point, he's not done that. So this is, to me, it's make or break for Richardson. It just is. And I don't see a scenario in my mind where Jones, I don't see a favorable scenario where Jones wins the job and then you're just waiting for Jones to falter or whatever to put Richardson in. It can happen. It can happen because I think Jones is going to have a good camp because that's the kind of quarterback he is. He's not really the spectacular play guy. He's sort of the grinder, which I think plays well in training camp. For all of us who are going to start charting 7-on-7, 11-on-11, he's gonna have a much better percentage than Richardson. He just is.
The Dean Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Mike, how will it work in terms of splitting up the reps when it comes to just the preseason games themselves when you factor in the 2 joint practices that the Colts will have between the Ravens and the Packers?
That's a good question. I don't know. In the past, when they've had these joint work, like when they've had two practices, they've really not played starters much, frontline players much in preseason games. This time they've got that one practice, Baltimore and the Packers, and then you play. I think they're in a position to where the quarterbacks have to play. They just have to play. I don't care how much they practice in those joint practices. They need to play in the games, the first two games. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to play Richardson, if you're going to play Jones, you got to play your starting offensive line, I think, which is going to need to work because you got two new starters. So I think they'll play. I don't know. It's hard to say there, but they need to play extensively in preseason games. And maybe one guy starts the first game, the other guy starts the second game, and then at that point, maybe Shane Dykton is at the point where he's comfortable making a decision, or maybe we go 3 games. I don't know. I would like to know if I'm the team that after 2 games, each has played a game, who my guy is, and then you let Riley Leonard start the third game, because at that point you don't want your starter to get hurt. So it'll be interesting. I think they need to know. I think they will know after camp breaks and you have the 2 preseason games. If you still don't know by then I don't know what's going to tip the scales. I think that would mean that both guys have had bad preseasons, and I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they'll both play well, and then the team will have to decide which way they want to go. Which should be a good problem, a good issue to have is they both played well. What are we going to do as far as tipping the scales? I will be really surprised if one or both of these guys has a bad camp and a bad preseason. I really will.
Mike Chappell, the dean on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You can see his work on Fox 59 and CBS 4. Mike, it is quarterback top of mind, but there are other position groups out there. The position group you feel the most comfortable with, and the one where you think there could be trouble, whether it be depth, talent, or both, is what?
Most comfortable with receiver, and goodness, when's the last time we said that? Well, last year maybe, because it's the same group. I like the receiver group. I think Pitt's going to come back and have a really good year after dealing with that back injury. I think Pierce is going to do the same thing he did, maybe not 22 yards a game. And Downs is getting better. He has more catches in his first 2 years than any Colt, 3 more than Marv. So he's had a great 2 years. A.D. Mitchell is the wild card, and he's probably the most talented receiver they've got. Had a really up and down, lackluster rookie year. I think he comes back and have a good year. The one I'm most concerned with, well, I think they need a safety. They need a linebacker or 2, which I don't know that's going to go out yet. And I still need to be convinced that the offensive line is going to be. Pro Football Focus has him ranked number 5. I'm not there. I like the 3 guys are coming back. I think Braden Smith has played at a near Pro Bowl level when he's been out there. It's great to get him back, and great that he has himself back personally. But you're still going Bortolini at center and Gonzalez at right guard, and they'll be first-time, full-time starters. And I don't know who the swing tackle is. That concerns me because tackles get dinged up. Gonzalez had to start 5 or 6 games at tackle last year for both Ryman and Smith. So, but I like the roster. I do. I think this should be a playoff roster if the quarterback plays at a decent level, whatever decent means. So I like this, but everything we write about is going to be, oh, by the way, the quarterbacks, because that's the situation this team's in.
Which depth position group scares you the most? Offensive line, linebacker, or safety?
Linebacker. linebacker. They've got Zaire Franklin, who's second team All-Pro last year, coming off ankle surgery, didn't participate off season, and then you got Jalen Carlisle, who started, I don't know what it was, 5 or 6 games, 7 games as a rookie, and made the transition sort of from safety to linebacker. And he had shoulder surgery, so he didn't work out much in the off season. So, and beyond that, you don't know. You just don't know. They lose EJ Speed, they lose Grant Stewart. So they've got 2 guys you can say that you're sort of comfortable with. After that, I just don't know. So linebacker, if they had 8 things to do in the offseason, personnel-wise, roster-wise, they did 7 of them. And the one they didn't get done was linebacker. And if the 8 things, that's the one. I'm glad they got 7 done and didn't get this done, as opposed to, well, you didn't get a tight end, a corner, a safety, or the quarterback. So, but I'll be looking at linebacker because they're going to play more DBs on second and third down. But doggone it, you need to play linebackers too, and I just don't know that they have a lot of reliable depth at linebacker. They have depth, they got bodies, but reliable depth is another issue.
The D. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. Chap, we've already talked about the quarterback and how they'll split things up in training camp. How will they split it up with center, just in the aspect of the centers working with the QBs?
Well, well, when the first unit's out there, it'll be Bortolini, and I don't think they'll overload him or the rest of the offensive line in training camp. When it's time for the ones, it'll be with the first unit, and when it's the other guys, it'll be the backup. So, but they'll have it scripted to where Jones and AR get as much equal work behind the ones as possible, rotating probably series in practice and sessions in practice. It won't be Jones on Monday's gonna run the first team, and on Tuesday's gonna be Richardson. They won't do that, I don't think. It'll be more in practice, alternating, and yeah, you're not gonna as much work as Bortolini and Gonzalez need. They're not gonna say you're out there every snap with Richardson and Jones. If you watch in practice, they rotate groups, and they'll continue to do that. And when it's time for the first unit to be out there, it'll be Bortolini.
I was about to say, you don't think that there's a center competition either between Bortolini and Danny Pinter?
Oh, maybe if you listen to him in the off season, it was Gonzalez as the right guard, and there was a little bit of question about center. But no, I think he'll start as the guy. But Pinter has shown he's played at a decent level when he's had to play for Kelly. So at least you've got some interior depth that you feel good about. But I do think it's Bortolini's job to lose.
Mike Chappell on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. Expectations for this season, Mike. I don't know how much of a win-loss guy you are necessarily, but we've been trying to debate, like, what exactly qualifies as a successful season for this team that seems to be in a bit of a transition year.
Yeah, good question. I think Vegas has the over/under at 7.5.
Yep.
If they go under, it's not a successful season. I don't. It's a really good question, and I would want to take the over, but gosh, it all depends on the quarterback play. And again, if they get a quarterback play where the guy ranks like 15th in the league, then they'll be decent. They'll be a good team. They don't need 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. Oh, that'd be nice. But that first half of the schedule, look at that schedule, and they better make hay early. It's a really the early part of the schedule, the first half or so, maybe before you going into Berlin. I think that's conducive to a good start. And if you're going to be what you think you need to be or should be, then you're looking at a good start. The 2 tough games, obviously, are the road games with the Rams and with the Chargers. If after 6 games they're looking at 2 and 4, then with that schedule, I think it's going to be a tough year. The back half of the schedule is a lot tougher with better quarterback play, but I like the schedule. It gives them a chance to get off to a good start, get feeling good about themselves. I almost reserve judgment until, like 6 games. Let me see where they're at. But if I had to bet $100 over under of my money, I would take the under because there's too many variables that have to work. But I think this I won't say should, I'll say this can be a playoff team. I like the roster. Jonathan Taylor is a top 3 running back. He just is. If he stays healthy and they can lean on the run game, Tyler Warren, the defense is going to be better. I like this team. I just don't like the uncertainty at quarterback.
Do you think they get a contract extension done with Bernhard Raimann before week 1?
No, I don't. And then watching a week it'll come out. I think they're sort of in wait and see mode with how the season goes and who's back and who's not. Although I tell you, and they've got probably 5 or 6 really key players that are going to be free agents. Alec Pierce, Quiddy Pay, Nick Cross. But I don't care who the head coach or the GM is next year. Bernhard Raimann's got to be your left tackle. I think he's going into it, and it's going to be cheaper to get him done earlier rather than later. I just think they're sort of in a wait-and-see mode on these extensions or new contracts until you see what you've got. Although, like I said, left tackle, I want Bernhard Raimann to be my left tackle for the next, 8 years. And if all he is Anthony Costanzo, you're in pretty good shape.
Is your wait-and-see mode belief because the new ownership with the Irsay daughters are kind of like telling Chris Ballard that, hey, let's hold off on handing out any contract extensions. We want to see how this season plays out to make it determined on your future and Shane Steichen's future and just the overall future of some of the players on the roster?
Yeah, I just think it's the uncertainty. And if things don't go as planned, win-loss wise, and that's what you're judged on, is win and losses, barring a couple of catastrophic injuries that really throw things out of whack, I just think Carly Irsay and her sisters want to see what they've got. Somebody asked me, would there be any big moves after they took over? I said, no, it was mid-May. I mean, you can't fire a coach, fire a GM. So, no, this is what you've got. I think it's smart to wait and see what you've got and who you can bring back. And, again, worst-case scenario, who the new management and head coaching group wants. I hope that doesn't happen. I like continuity. And if they have a decent season, we'll have continuity. But I think there is, with the daughters, the new stewards of the team, sort of a wait and see. She even told everyone at the press conference that, everyone knows we've not lived up to our standards. And that's obvious. No playoff win for whatever, and AFC title, and not since 2014, and they haven't been in the playoffs for 4 years. But it's got to be better. So I just don't know that it makes a lot of sense to start dealing out a contract for Raimann and Pierce, and I think it's smarter to wait and see. Although the longer you wait and see on Bernhard Raimann, the more it's probably going to cost you.
Chap, what training camp will this be for you?
Well, since '84, however many that is, 40, whatever.
Okay, so
I've been to all. I've been to all of them. I'm not good at counting with.
I'm not either.
41
little stick figures. So,
right.
Yeah, it's. I've been to all of them.
So the camp body that you thought would make the team that didn't, that still surprised you to this day, is who?
Oh gosh.
I know.
You should have given me a heads up. You should have given me a heads up on that one. I don't know that anyone really surprised. Kerry Blanchard. How about that? Kerry Blanchard was their kicker, and it had a decent year the year before, and he got beat out by some guy named Mike Vanderjagt, some guy from the CFL. Maybe the top of my head, that one, although when I think about it later on, I'll say, that was stupid. It was this guy. But I think when you've got a good roster, a top-to-bottom good roster, most guys, I could probably sit down today and come up with 47 of the 53 and feel really comfortable about it because they've just got guys in place that are going to be hard to unseat. 47, 48 or 49 maybe, which I think is a good thing. I think when you got, a dozen spots that you don't know about, it means your roster's not good enough. So it should be hard for rookies or even free agents. Although you sign free agents for a reason, but it should be hard for your rookies and undrafted rookies to make it. But I think I could sit down. Maybe I'll do that over the weekend and come up with a list that I think these guys will make it, and I'll hit on 48 or 49 of them. I feel pretty comfortable with that.
I apologize for giving you the homework assignment right at the end of the interview.
You're supposed to give it to me like earlier in the day so I can actually do some open book studying.
There's a reason they only ask us to fill in every once in a while on these shows because of stuff like that.
I understand that.
Well, make sure that Kevin or James is charting the completions of the quarterbacks and the distances for field goals so you don't have to. You've more than earned to kick your feet up at training camp. But Mike Chappell, we appreciate the time, and we'll see you out at training camp.
Good talking to you guys. Be well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the time. The great Mike Chappell, longtime Colts reporter for CBS 4 and Fox 59, right there on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We've made it to almost 30 minutes left in the show. Eddie and James and I are still on the air. They have obviously left us at the wheel. It is The Ride with JMV, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
is the Bet365 Command Center. Get your race updates here all month long and make sure to enter for your chance to win $500 by predicting the winner of this year's race on July 27th. Go to 1075thefan.com to enter. Now, here's your 2025 race update brought to you by Bet365.
July 27th, the Brickyard 400 coming to IMS. I was out at IMS earlier today. Looks glorious. They're gearing up for the event. Shane Van Gisbergen won at Sonoma. Kyle Larson, your winner at last year's Brickyard. Don't forget, NASCAR will be out at Dover this weekend. And if you want your chance to win $500, go to 1075thefan.com, click the contest page, and you can win $500 if you can correctly predict the winner of this year's Brickyard 400. Again, 1075thefan.com. Click on the contest page and enter your chance to win $500 courtesy of Bet365.
The Ride with JMV.
I am the cream, the cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Ooh, yeah. We're almost at the home stretch here right now. I love Macho Man. I love that rejoinder as well. I feel like Macho Man is one of the easier impressions to do just because he had such an exaggerated voice. I had the one time I think I did it, and my oldest daughter would like jump on me on the couch when I was younger and more limber actually. She would jump on me. She'd do like the Randy Savage elbow drop, and I would always quote after she would do it. I'm in a position I'd rather not be in. That's what would happen right there. And I would have bruises. Now they're getting older and stronger, and like all three of them, they take me down. Like, it's not good. I need a ref to officiate this thing because it's getting out of control at my house.
I have noticed that James Adams is playing the rejoinders to appease one of us over here, and it's not me.
It's working. I love it.
I mean, he's an easy mark. Like I got. It's the same thing with Rake
Oh,
Straw
I
when
see
Rake
what
Straw
you did
comes
there.
in.
I see what you did there.
Wrestling terminology.
But
well, the hardest part about being a mark is my mark is a C, not a K, and a lot of people have the mark with a K. That's the hardest part of being Mark with a C. People say, "Why is your name Mark with a C?" I'm like, I don't know. Ask my parents. I didn't name myself.
You've never asked your parents?
No, they just said. I think they just said just because they wanted to do that.
To be different?
Maybe they were big Mark Summers fans. I don't know.
They wanted to be different?
Big Double Dare action. I guess. I don't know. Because then people get confused. They see my middle initial. My middle initial is S for Steven. But so people see Mark and M-A-R-C and S, and they feel like there's a U missing. They think my full name is Marcus.
Oh.
So they're, Marcus. I'm like, no. No, it's just Mark S.
Good call.
There's no U. That's the problem. That's the only issue. That's been the big hang up. Is that people just assume there's a U in there, and there's not. Mark is the full name. Can't get any shorter. Can't get any longer.
Damian
That's
Lillard.
true in more ways than one, actually.
You don't have a breaking news center, do you, James Adams?
I do. Let me find it.
Oh, really? You know, Jake.
See, we don't get breaking news on the morning show normally. Look at that. I feel like I'm watching Barbara Walters back in the 90s.
So typically during our program, Querying Company, Jake's like, Eddie, do you have the breaking news center? I'm like, yes, Jake, I've always got the breaking news center for you. Damian Lillard has found a new home, he's going back to where his home was. Yes, he is re-signing with the Portland Trailblazers, 3 years, $42 million. Of course, Dame's going to miss the entirety of this next season, but got to think about it from Portland's perspective. You trade Lillard, you get a nice return, and now you've got Damian Lillard back. How about them apples?
I mean, that's a nice homecoming for him.
Nice job, Miles Turner.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, good for him. So he'll wrap his career up, I assume.
No, he'll be 35.
Huh?
He's going to be 35, yeah.
You don't think he's stopped? You think he's got more stops than Portland after this?
No, I do not.
Okay. I get he's only 35, but I mean, he's had some injuries now, and I'm assuming this is his final drop is
he'd
for
be
Damian
38 when that contract ends. So yeah, I would assume that he's signing there to end his career in Portland.
Have you guys been keeping track of this whole kiss cam at the Coldplay concert thing that's kind of come around? So I didn't really know much about it, but this Andy Byron, who's a tech CEO, was caught on the kiss cam during Coldplay's concert, apparently with a coworker who is not his wife, and he has released a statement. And I have to say, it's kind of hilarious that you were at a concert with someone who is not your significant other. You got caught on the kiss cam, and like James said in the break, it wouldn't be that awkward had the guy not gotten complete stage fright and you're at a concert. Is your wife or significant other, if you're not there with them, Are they going to know that you're at the concert?
Hey, honey, I'm at the office working late tonight.
Not too many people are like streaming out the Kiss Cam videos, I imagine, at the Coldplay concert. So that's kind of hard to get caught at.
It was almost better off if he just like acted normal.
Right.
Because now it's not going to,
it went viral because of his reaction, because he got caught and then he ducked out of camera view. And the other woman is like,
they quite literally parted like the Red Sea.
They did. So Andy Byron, the CEO, the tech CEO, has released a statement, and I found it quite funny, especially the ending of it. He says, I want to acknowledge the moment that's been circulating online and the disappointment it's caused was supposed to be a night of music and joy, turned into a deeply personal mistake, playing out on a very public stage. I want to sincerely apologize to my wife, my family, and the team at Astronomer.
Yeah, that's his
You
company.
deserve better from me as a partner, as a father, and a leader. This is not who I want to be or how I want to represent the company I helped build. I'm taking time to reflect, to take accountability, and to figure out the next steps. Personally and professionally, I ask for privacy as I navigate the process. One expects how troubling it is that what should have been a private moment became public without my consent. I respect artists and entertainers, but I hope we can all think more deeply about the impact of turning someone else's life into a spectacle. I assume that's because Chris Martin said because of their reaction, they were either having an affair or very nervous.
Well, they
But
work
you're
together.
at the concert on the Kiss Cam. Like, that's not Chris Martin's fault.
They work together. The girl
Yes.
that he's with, she's
Yes.
the chief people officer.
You went to a concert with other people around with a coworker that is not your wife or anything. What are you talking about? Saying you were disappointed that a private moment was you weren't. It's not like Chris Martin and Coldplay played at your house. What are you talking about? The zinger at the end, by the way. He says, as a friend once sang, lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. So he quotes Coldplay at the end of this press release. What a jackass moron.
Not to give advice on how to be unfaithful to your spouse, but if you are going to go to a concert and you are with your side piece and they put you on the Kiss Cam, just act normal. Just act like you're going to be there, and it won't go viral on X, and nobody will be talking about it the next day.
Well, here's the thing: is this an HR violation? I mean,
Probably.
he is the owner.
I would imagine that's an HR violation since he's a superior to her. I'd imagine.
Or CEO, I should say.
You got caught at the Coldplay concert. You're blaming like it was a private event, which it wasn't, and then you quote the band at the end of this press release. Unbelievable, but actually like hilarious. What an absolute moron. I hope his wife spits in his dinner if they're even still together after this. What a jerk. What a good Lord. Somebody just tweeted out, FanDuel just tweeted out that Damian Lillard are Portland, and they tweeted out a picture of that couple. They're together once again. Yeah, Damian Lillard back with the Portland Trail Blazers. Have to imagine that's the end of his career as far as his last stop on his career, going back home where he started. But what a ridiculous story that is out there. Plenty more to get into. We still have a couple more minutes left. 20 minutes left on this show. We haven't gotten canceled yet. We've still survived. We gave away some Dierks Bentley and some Bare Naked Ladies concert tickets. We also asked for your original first car. I don't know if anyone has ever, what'd I say? 96 Mercury Villager is what I drove. Did anybody drive a worse car than that? A minivan
Not me.
in high school?
I mean, I drove a minivan in high school, but it was my mom's car. My first actual car is the car I'm still driving to this day, is a Tacoma.
Yeah, I think the false like optimism as a child is like you see these movies are like My Sweet 16 where they're like, oh, here's a brand new car. It's a Jeep Wagoneer. And you're like, wow, a brand new car. And my parents were like, yeah, if you want a car that works, you got the family minivan. I'm like, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. So you got any comments on worst first car? Let me know, 239-1070. Eddie and I will wrap this show up. We got 20 minutes left. Thank you for joining us on the producer's version of the Ride with JMV today on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
107.5 The Fan.
All right, we're putting a bow tie on this cow pie that is the Ride with JMV, the producer show. But shout out to
I thought it was just a tie.
I don't know. But real quick, shout out to Tracy Sprinkle, Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day winner. Winning horse was Micromanaged, which paid $8.80 on a $2 bet. A $2 exacta paid out $48.60, and a 50-cent trifecta paid out $34.50. So Tracy wins $50 in betting and dining at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. Shout out to Tracy. That's a good way to cap off your Thursday if you were at work and all that stuff. Got the win at the Hoosiers Race Park and Casino Race of the Day. So shout out to Tracy.
You have another chance tomorrow if you're listening for $50 in betting and dining at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. I think that tweet from JMV with the horse entries for the day comes out about 2 p.m. So go to JMV 1070 on Twitter. All you have to do is retweet, and that's how you are entered with a chance to win. And if James likes you that day, then James Adams will pick you to win.
Not a bad way. Jason Ellis, by the way, chimes in. I said, worst first car you had. James says, had an 85 Pontiac 6000 from 1993 to 1998. That thing got some miles on it. Holy Lord. Not like who's our winner for the Dierks Bentley concert? Rocking $1,800 rental cars. Good grief.
Daryl,
yeah. My goodness. By the way, people are chiming in. I asked Matt Weaver, Peaks.com, a question about the bison. Hoosier the bison coming back. And I mentioned there's a bison farm.
So you want it like LSU. Do they do the tiger? I can't remember.
They used to, I think. But Hoosier the Bison coming back after like a 56-year absence or 60-year hiatus, whatever it was. There is a bison farm that I drive by nearly every time I go up to Northwest Indiana and Illinois. It's on US 41. People are like, where is this bison farm at? It is in Morocco, and it's called Kankakee Sands. And if you go to Kankakee Sands, you're driving past 41. It'll be on your left side, and it is a legit bison farm with hundreds of bison just like roaming the fields. It is actually pretty awesome. You can wrap around that whole thing. So Kankakee Sands, the name of the bison farm. So if IU needs to get a rental bison, which they should definitely do the real live bison. Kankakee Sands, see if they can get a deal out there.
Just to answer your question, Eddie, LSU does still have a tiger. It's Mike 7.
Oh,
yeah,
Mike,
the 7th Mike in the Mike the Tiger lineage.
Wait a minute, hold on. The tiger at LSU's name is Mike.
Mike, and then in Roman numerals, VII 7.
I don't think
so.
I've ever
Did you
seen
have to look up to see what number that was?
I had to. There's a whole Wikipedia article on the Mike the Tiger lineage. He's been around since 27. This version's been around since 2017. The first Mike the Tiger, Mike 1, was from 1936 to 1956. 20 years old.
I didn't know the tiger had the name, but I definitely would have guessed. You gave me 10,000 guesses. I wouldn't have said it's Mike. So is its full name Michael? Like, I'm not Marcus.
Wait, do they have
no,
a
I
reasoning?
think it's just
Michael
Mike.
Tiger?
Mike the Tiger.
They don't have a reasoning as why they named it Mike. They didn't name it after somebody.
I am not seeing this right now. Yeah, no, it's just the name of the tiger and the costume mascots from what I can see.
Boy, does anybody else ever name their pet like a legit, like regular human name like that? Like my dog's name was Parker back in the day. We still had Parker. But Parker is not like a full-grown like human name. I've seen other people, other animals named Parker and all that stuff. But like Mike is a legit human name. I haven't heard. That's my cat. Rebecca. What?
When in high school, my family had a dog named Bob, which was interesting because my mom's brother is also named Bob.
Oh.
So that was fun.
So they named him Mike because they renamed him to honor Mike Chambers, LSU's athletic trainer at the time, who was the person who was most responsible for bringing him to the school.
I got elbowed in the ribs by Ashley one time. We were at Disney and we got like a souvenir for our dog. It was just like a Parker like dog collar. And this kid was next to me and he goes, "My name's Parker." I said, "Oh, that's our dog's name." And Ashley's like, "That was so rude." I'm like, "How is that rude? That's the truth." I was like, "How is that being rude? I didn't say anything." She's like, "Well, you compared him to a dog." I'm like, "I said his name was the same as our dog. His name wasn't Fido. Like, what are you talking about?"
Well, at least you didn't give the dog the same name as a family relative like we did in our family.
Yeah, Mike and hey, I don't know. Interesting way we're wrapping the show here, talking about human pet names for animals. So we've got Caitlyn Clark, the big news of the day. We should probably double back on that. She is out of the three-point contest, out of the All-Star game altogether. She released a statement a few hours ago, just putting out a statement saying, she's incredibly sad and disappointed. She can't participate in either event. She's going to rest her body. but she will still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all the action and hoping to help Sandy coach the team to a win. Can't wait to see everyone out there. So a disappointing blow to WNBA All-Star Weekend here in Indianapolis. Obviously, Caitlyn Clark going to be the mayor of the city, basically. What off-court duties she still has remain to be seen, but she'll be out of the on-court activities.
It's a pretty busy newsworthy day in the NFL, too. Like, you have Jordan Addison. He pleads guilty to a lesser charge with the DUI. And per, I think it's the NFL rule book or whatever, he has to miss at least 3 games this upcoming year for with the Minnesota Vikings. And then you've got Mike Williams with the Chargers announces his retirement after 8 years. TJ Watt is now the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. And
TJ Watt got the bag, so those trade rumors can be silenced now.
And then Rashee Rice with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he pleads guilty or is sentenced or something, and he has to serve 30 days in jail within the next 5 years.
Yeah, and then on top of that, Damian Lillard's going to sign a 3-year, $42 million contract to return to the Portland Trailblazers. So Dame time back again in the Pacific Northwest after he was released by the Bucks in a waive and stretch deal that landed them Miles Turner in free agency. So, yeah, a busy day. We don't usually get this kind of news on the morning show, unfortunately. Everything breaks at like 10:01 when we're off the air. So nice to have some news to break over the show. But Eddie and James, it was fun. It was a good time out here. The producer's show kicking in for the first time officially on the JMV show.
What do you guys have planned up tomorrow morning? Going out tomorrow morning.
So tomorrow we have Purdue head coach Barry Odom. Obviously, we got some football talk going. So Purdue head coach Barry Odom is going to join the program.
James and Kevin, right?
Yes,
Jeff
is still out. He sent us biking pictures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he was taking pictures. And he said, not a bad way to spend vacation. I was like, I'm more impressed by the person that took these pictures because they are in motion while he's on the bike. I'm not impressed by Jeff on a bike.
Oh, he was actually like riding?
Yeah, he was cycling through like the streets of Paris or something.
Oh, interesting.
And he's like, hey, take a look at these views. I'm like, who the hell is taking those pictures? That's more impressive than anything you're doing.
Is it you think somebody else is riding next to him taking these photos?
They have to be. Otherwise, unless he's got.
Are they doing a tandem bicycle?
Well, no, I would do a tandem bicycle, but I can't imagine Jeff has a drone that he's monitoring while he's doing it. Someone else is taking them, and they're not blurry. So I don't know who took those pictures. But I told him, more impressed by whoever's taking those photos than you on a bicycle. That's old hat for him. So, yes, he's out the rest of the week and next week as well. But Barry Odom going to join the show tomorrow. We also have Ryan Rucco, who's going to be on the call for the All-Star game.
You bet.
So we've got some fun stuff planned for the morning show. I'm sure we'll talk some Colts as well with Kevin, James, and myself. What about you guys?
Still working on tomorrow, trying to nail somebody else down. We've been doing a company camp caravan where we've been talking with various people who cover opponents on the Colts schedule, trying to nail that down. I know JMV is back tomorrow. And he will be at O'Reilly's Irish Pub off of Pennsylvania Street. So, John won't miss the remote, especially if there's free samples involved. So,
yeah.
Jane will be back tomorrow 3 until 6.
Should have Tom Crean and potentially even Tamika Catchings on the show, I believe, as well tomorrow.
Nice. Tamika Catchings obviously getting passed by Kelsey Mitchell. That'll be interesting to see her thoughts as the All-Star game heads to Indy. And obviously, Tom Crean had some pretty interesting comments with Miles Turner. Doesn't think it's going to be as big of a blow to the Indiana Pacers as originally thought. So Tom Crean, always a great listen. Tamika Catching is awesome as well. Can't wait to hear her as well. It's been a pleasure, boys. We should do this again sometime, maybe when JMV is out again.
I feel you there.
Doing
Have a good
that.
night, Mark.
We can talk
You too,
wrestling
James.
and all that stuff. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll all see you tomorrow. It's The Ride with JMV, 93.5, 107.5. The Fan, have a great rest of your Thursday.